Serving notice that the Coach Prime era is underway. Touchdown pass. Jackson State is on the board first. Jones keeps it himself and into the end zone. Alexander slams it on in. Lost the football. Recovered by Jackson State's Keontae Hampton.
These guys are resilient. And the thing about it, the best is yet to come. You know, like back in the day when they called roll, you had to raise your hand and say, here, baby, we him.
Who's ready for some Sunday afternoon football? We are tuning in for Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders. He is perfect 2-0 in his coaching start. We're in Jackson, Mississippi, inside Veterans Memorial Stadium. We're at about 50% capacity. The fans are there. The band is there. The cheerleaders are there. So it should be a hype atmosphere for this rivalry game as Jackson State perfect on the season coming in. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. The Tigers at 2-0 taking on Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, their first game in this spring season. Now, due to COVID-19 restrictions, we're broadcasting this game from our home, so what's up? Welcome inside our homes. John Shriffen alongside my buddy Jay Walker, former NFL quarterback. And Jay, a lot of people tuning into this game, they know about Hall of Fame player Deion Sanders. They know about the world-class broadcaster Deion Sanders. But we're all getting to know Coach Prime. And after our conversation with him this week, it is clear he's got something special cooking up here at Jackson State.
The prime time era at Jackson State is going above expectations. He came in putting the pressure on himself, and the football team has responded. They're 2-0 on the season, an impressive victory last week on the road at Grambling against another traditional HBCU powerhouse. Right now, Jackson State, they have a model where they say they believe, but I think they're starting to realize they have a really good football team.
And one of the reasons why they were able to seal that game, their defense. They forced a fumble on the goal line, sealed the game. And, Jay, they've got two special linebackers here today.
Yeah, last week, Aubrey Miller, the transfer from the University of Missouri, made his FCS debut, and all he did was become named the National Defensive Player of the Week for FCS football. And then we know about Keontae Hampton. As a sophomore, he was the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year with over 100 tackles a season ago. Last week, he kept it going. They have to continue to play at a high clip.
As for Mississippi Valley State, this will be their first game since 2019. We're not sure what we're going to get, but we do know they've got a baller in Jerry Gardner.
And Jerry Gardner is one of those overachievers, kind of like his head coach Vince Dancy was when he played at Jackson State. When you look at Gardner, this is a guy that was a walk-on, but has molded himself into an NFL caliber defensive end. If the Delta Devils are going to try and pull off the upset down in Jackson, then he needs to be disruptive in the backfield.
Jackson State has won the toss. They've elected to defer. So the Delta Devils will get the ball first. And we are underway here in Jackson, Mississippi. SWAC football on national TV. You gotta love it. Delta Devils run the ball out past the 30. And coming out on offense will be quarterback Jelani Eason. Now, they are really high on this kid. 5'10", 180 from Los Angeles. He's a grad transfer from Portland State, so he's already put up good numbers, and they like him because he has an arm on him as well.
He's got the ability to move the chains, and what they need is somebody that's going to come in and not be fearful. They feel like Eason feels as if he's played at some of the highest levels in FCS football. He has to be a dual-threat guy that can escape, but more importantly, manage the offense and come up with the big play when called upon.
First play, they are passing. Completed down the field. A nice catch by Donald Johnson. Tackle is made.
One of the things that we saw, and many people may not realize this, last year Mississippi Valley had their best chance at beating Jackson State in quite some time. They jumped out on Jackson State 21-0 before Jackson State was able to pull off the victory in overtime. The Delta Devils are not intimidated by Jackson State.
First play passing, second play they go to the ground, pick up a couple up the middle.
Early on, you see Aubrey Miller picking up where he left off a week ago. And when we talked to the coaches, they said Miller had a good game, but he could have played better. He was slightly late to a couple of tackles, but look for him to try and read his keys a little bit better this week.
You see head coach Deion Sanders, he is really excited about this program he's got going. 2-0. They won their first game 53-0 over Edward Waters. They won a big one last week against Grambling State. This is the SWAC home opener. That pass is wild, out of bounds by Eason.
And good job by Dennis Thurman, the defensive coordinator for Jackson State, longtime NFL coach. Realizing that Mississippi Valley was starting to get a little bit of a rhythm, he brought a free safety blitz at number 5, Markel Gladney, blitzing from the outside. And by the time Easton recognized it was too late. He just had to throw an errant pass.
So it's 3rd and 5, opening drive of the ball game here in Jackson, Mississippi. You're looking at head coach Vincent Dancy, and for Dancy, this is a homecoming. He played safety here at Jackson State from 2002 to 05. So he knows a little something about Veterans Memorial Stadium. Drop back to pass, 3rd and 5, incomplete. Good coverage on the outside by Keontae Hampton.
Pressure again from the outside. Trying to see if the Delta Devils were going to make the adjustment, but we did not see Jackson State let off. They continue to bring the blitz. Keontae Hampton in coverage. Now interesting decision time. Although they cross midfield, Coach Dance is going to bring out the punt team and try and win the battlefield position.
If you're the Delta Devils, you're the big underdog. This is a rivalry game. Would you have gone for it in this situation?
No. I mean, it's still 0-0 game. So don't take a chance, go for it, give them a short field, and you fall behind early. Now, if you're up a score or down a score maybe, but a 0-0 contest, let's see if your defense is going to have the ability to make some stops.
So the Delta Devils will indeed punt this ball away, and that is a great punt. Will pin Jackson State at the 5-yard line. So we will see this explosive Tigers offense come onto the field for the first time, and they are led by quarterback Jalen Jones. Had a great game last week. Big guy, 6'4", 220. Coaching staff said he's still maturing, so they're not throwing everything at him just yet, but they have opened up the playbook a little more for him this week.
Well, if he's still not where he's going to be, then that's scary because he's been playing at a very efficient rate. 78% passer on the season through 2 games. He's getting the job done with his feet as well as with his arms and making great decisions with the football.
First play of the game, they're going to run. And Jackson State will get a few yards up the middle.
Tyson Alexander, the standout performance a week ago when he rushed for over 184 yards. Without him, the Tigers probably would have lost the game at Grambling. They named him the starter for the great job he did a week ago.
Well, it's impressive for Alexander. First game of the season against Edward Waters. He had 4 touches for 12 yards. Then you look at the next game, he just exploded onto the scene, and the coaches said, we didn't have a choice. I mean, there was never really even a conversation. He was our starting running back.
He was the best football player a week ago, and they gave him an opportunity to start this week. And you'll see that Mississippi Valley State realizes that, and now they've got Jackson State facing 3rd and 6.
Kamani Clark in the backfield for Jackson State, and Jones will take off with his legs, and he's going to pick up the first down.
And that's where I think when we heard Jason Phillips, the offensive coordinator, talk about the limited playbook. 3rd and 6, that's a passing opportunity when you're backed up. But realizing, well, they still may have some limitations in the offense, and Jalen Jones is a dual threat. Great job calling the quarterback draw, picking up the first down.
Jackson State gets a little more breathing room after starting this drive on their own 5-yard line. 1st and 10, first possession of the ball game for Jackson State's offense. Jones is looking to throw. He is pressured, and he's just going to get rid of that one.
And that is very interesting to see. When we talked to Coach Dancy, and particularly the defensive coordinator, Derek Welch, he felt like our front 4 are going to control the line of scrimmage. When he said Jeremiah Kane and Jerry Gardner, that combination there, they're going to win their battles. And in a pure drop-back situation, you saw that Mississippi Valley State was able to pressure the pocket early.
2nd and 10. They're going to hand off, but here comes flags. And for the first time, we will hear from our referee, Y.N. Myers III. All right, maybe we won't hear from him, but he signals false start. So that'll back up Jackson State 5 yards. Hopefully we'll get the referee's mic figured out throughout the rest of this game. So Jackson State now 2nd and 15.
And this is where you want to see how much are they trusting Jalen Jones to throw the football. Give him 2 opportunities to throw the ball down the field and see if he can pick up the first down for you.
He's got 3 wide to his left, but he's going to take off with his legs. That's a quarterback run all the way, but he only gets a couple.
Now, isn't that a little bit odd? Is that a little bit odd to you right there? I mean, you're at 2nd and 15, and you call quarterback draw again. I'm sure that Jones wants you as a quarterback, and a former quarterback myself, open up the playbook. Coach, I can pick up 5 yards throwing the ball here, then get the 3rd down conversion. But now you're looking at 3rd and 12.
So 3rd and long for Jones. He's going to roll out to his left. He throws, and the pass is complete. So Warren Newman.
And Newman is Mr. Explosive for there. This is just a 3-level throw. One goes short, and he was the mid-level receiver from the slot position, and they rolled the pocket a little bit to buy Jalen Jones some time, and he throws a strike to Warren Newman.
Converts on 3rd and long. Now they're going to go to the ground here on 1st down. This is Kamani Clark, and he tried to bounce it to the outside, but is tackled, and a flag will come in at the end of that play. Like referee Wyan Myers, but we signaled holding on the offense.
And you know why it was holding? Because look at all the jerseys behind the blue jerseys on the line of scrimmage. They're on the edge. That's a hold on the, looks like that might have been on the tight end, Kylan Ritchie, number 85. But when you beat your man off the ball as a defensive lineman, hold will come. And right now what I'm seeing, the guys up front, 92, 99, 33, and 42, backfield of causing half game.
So 1st and 20 now for the offense. Jones throws over the middle, complete to tight end Kylan Ritchie. And after the play, a little extra, and here comes the flag. So no one in the stadium the play unsportsmanlike conduct. Let's take a look at this after Jones completes this.
Yeah. Okay. The only pitch he's on the ground. A little extracurricular activity there, and I'm not upset at the officials trying to get control of this game early. You got 2 teams playing from the same state. They're only about an hour and a half away from each other.
Jalen Jones takes off again, and you can see the early script for Jones is they want to get him involved with his legs.
And he can move. Let's not forget, Jalen Jones coming out of high school was a 4-star recruit that signed with the University of Florida and ended up transferring to Jackson State. So this is a young man that has all the physical attributes that you want in a quarterback. And what's been impressive this season, his leadership ability. He's really matured from a season ago at Jackson State.
2nd and 5. They're going to bounce it to the outside. That's Tyson Alexander. Picks up the first.
And this is what makes Tyson Alexander special. The defensive line had him in the backfield, but able to make the first defender miss, bounce to the outside, and pick up a first down. If you give Alexander some daylight, he's an explosive running back that can hurt you with the home run type of run.
Gain of 8 on that play. So 1st and 10 as Jackson State enters Delta Devils territory. Jones drops back. Looks left side, completes. That's Dalen Baldwin with the catch. And we saw after that last run, we saw head coach Deion Sanders was waving to his guys, hurry up, hurry up. They want to go a little faster today.
They're trying to build the tempo. You see their nice pocket that time, giving enough time for Jones to complete the pass to Baldwin.
Jackson State not wasting any time. Jones over the middle. Oh, just over the hand of his tight end, Ritchie. We do have a flag on the play. So offsides on the defense. That's Jerry Gardner, defensive end, they called that on.
You see on the top of your screen, just gets caught there. Great recognition by Jones, realizing it was going to be a free play. Take a deep shot down the field, see if you can hurt him with a bigger play. Just missed.
That's 2 penalties on the drive by the Delta Devils. 1st and 5. They're going to run with Tyson Alexander. And Alexander with a big pickup. He's going to get into the red zone, a pickup of 11.
I don't know if they watched the film from a week ago, but Jackson State runs the ball very well. Off tackle to the left side. Running behind number 74, Tony Gray, their big left tackle. Last week, they gashed Grambling for a number of yards with that same play, and they did it again just now versus Mississippi Valley State. Oh!
Jackson State blown up in the backfield. Whoa, look out.
Eric Powell, number 42, with penetration coming. Unblocked, gets to the release point in a hurry. And there you see a number of jerseys there to back him up. After he takes out the running back, here comes the rest of the entourage with a tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Ooh, Eric Powell was the first guy. Jalen Bell cleaned it up. So 2nd and 15. There goes Jones with his legs up the middle, and he is in. Touchdown, Jackson State. A 19-yard touchdown run for quarterback Jalen Jones, and the Tigers get on the board first.
What an impressive drive from Jackson State. And Jalen Jones realizing, find an escape route early and get up the field and finish off the run with a touchdown scramble. Said it before, Jalen Jones is playing his best football of his career at Jackson State University.
You hear the crowd inside Veterans Memorial Stadium. They are hyped up for this rivalry game. Jackson State up 7-0 over the Delta Devils.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's.
Couple legends, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, battling on the NFL gridiron. Now, Deion Sanders, the head coach here at Jackson State. Jerry Rice, this is his alma mater, Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. That 84 squad was something. They could put up some points with Jerry Rice. But, Jay, a lot of people haven't heard much from these Delta Devils since the 80s. But their defense, they looked good in terms up front, but the quarterback for the Tigers, Jalen Jones, he was able to elude the pressure.
He was absolutely the difference on that opening drive. We saw the Delta Devil defensive line win the battles at the line of scrimmage. They were able to get to the pocket, but when they got there, Jalen Jones was too elusive and used his legs to really come up with convert some big plays.
Corey Rankin, the man deep for Mississippi Valley State, will take a knee in the end zone. Deion Sanders making such an impact. He said, you know, one of the biggest reasons why he wanted to come and coach is to impact young man's lives. And he's not just on the football field, but also off the football field. He said, guys, we got to make sure we clean up after ourselves in the locker room. We got to make sure we're not late. In the cafeteria, when you see the attendants, I want you to say good morning. I want you to introduce yourselves. I want you to be upstanding young men, because even if your future is not in football, I want to groom you so that you can be a great leader in society. Delta Devils, their second offensive possession of the game, coming, throwing, pass is complete. Out of the back, that's the tight end, Verandre White.
And now it's response time. You know, this is normally the point in the game if you're Mississippi Valley State, where in previous years after allowing a score, the offense throws an interception or they turn over the football. But under Coach Dancy, they've shown a little bit more fight. And I want to see how they're able to respond against that drive from Jackson State offensively if they can get their offense going.
So a gain of 5 on first down. So 2nd and 5 from the 30. Johnny Eason, the quarterback, drops back, throws to his running back out of the backfield. Nice little pickup there on second down. That's to Caleb Johnson.
And something that has to concern Jackson State. Last week, the pass rush was sometimes non-existent versus Grambling State. Here they're taking on Mississippi Valley State. And once again, we're seeing a clean in the pocket, able to distribute the football. I believe Jackson State has to do a little bit better job of getting outside rush penetration to be disruptive in the passing game.
So 3rd and 1. Eason hands the ball off. The Delta Devils have the first down.
They're going to get it, but it was close. They actually covered all 3 interior defensive linemen. Washed down and just a missed tackle behind the line of scrimmage by Rasheed Lyles, number 93, which would have had them short. But a great effort by Caleb Johnson to get just enough yardage for the first down.
We talked about Jackson State wanting to play faster on offense. We also heard from the defense. Defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman said he wanted his guys playing faster as well on that side of the ball.
Yeah, they can move, and I think he meant, they need more penetration over there. They have a mantra there where they want their guys smart, tough, fast, and disciplined. They were fast, but they lacked a little bit of the discipline a week ago, and they need to play better assignment football. Sorry about that, John.
You're good. Jelani Eason, gain of 1. His helmet came off, so he's going to have to go to the sideline for a play. His backup is going to have to come in.
Now, which one will that be? Will they go with number 15, Chandler Robinson, or will it be number 2, Quincy Ivory? Robinson had been battling a little bit of a hamstring issue, so we didn't know about his availability. And with that being the case, they bring on number 2, the true freshman, Quincy Ivory. Left-handed quarterback, 6'4", 240 pounds, getting his first collegiate action in his career.
Now, they love his future.
They better hand the ball off, John.
If it's only one play, I was going to say, they might not open the playbook here. 2nd and 9, and he's throwing it. Screen pass to the outside, completes it to Jarius Clayton. He said, I'm not handing this off. No, if I'm only getting one play, I'm throwing it.
They gave him a run-pass option, and he pulled that ball so quick and threw the ball to the wide receiver. Yeah, he's 1 for 1 in his collegiate career. A nice-looking release, got rid of that ball, accurately thrown. I'm not sure that was what the coaches wanted, but you give a young man an RPO, he's going to pull it and take what the defense gives him.
I'm not mad at that. Quincy Ivory, if you only get one snap, make the most of it. So Jelani Eason coming back into the game after his helmet came off, sat for 1 play. 3rd and 2 now for the Delta Devils. Handoff, slips through 1 tackler, breaks free on the outside, and a big gain for Caleb Johnson. He had pressure in the backfield, but escaped the tackler and picked up the first.
Once again, the defensive line not finishing the tackle. They collapsed the backfield, but a missed tackle in the open field by 2 defensive linemen, and great job of Caleb Johnson being elusive and making the defensive lineman miss and exploding upfield for a big play.
On 3rd and short, Johnson picks up 19 yards. So Mississippi Valley State is moving the ball here. 1st and 10. Eason. He's throwing it, and off the hands of his receiver. Incomplete to Datavius Porter.
What you see here, finding a way to get out of the pocket. In that situation there, you kind of want your tight end to gear down, stop drifting to somebody behind you, but staying poised, and that's what they wanted to see from Eason, the composure. And when you don't have much pressure coming in the form of a defensive line with a pass rush, Eason may start getting comfortable in that pocket and have the ability to pick them apart.
Let's remember, this is the first game of the season for Mississippi Valley State. Their first 2 games were postponed due to positive COVID-19 tests within the program. So this is their first in-game action. And already their offense is looking good. Handoff, that's to Johnson again, and Johnson another big game.
And that's the exact same play that they ran to convert on the first down on the previous set of downs there. And you just see the misdirection, the guys in motion, and they go off tackle, kick out block, find a hole, and Johnson able to pick up another first down.
11-yard scamper there. So a timeout on the field. We're going to take the break with them. Jackson State is up. Delta Devils, they're moving the ball.
Questions turn to the nerds.
Thousands of residents of Jackson have been without water since a winter storm back on February the 15th. That decimated the city's water treatment plants and their worn infrastructure. We're now 4 weeks later. Thousands are still under a boil water advisory. We're talking schools, businesses, residents still dealing with low water pressure. I was reading about this. It was a great article in the New York Times that came out on Friday. It said about 70% of the city's water customers are in a boil water notice. Now, the population of Jackson is 170,000 people. About 81% of them are black. We're a month after this storm that knocked out all the power to Texas. We've got to do better. If it's the pipes, if it's the infrastructure, we've got to replace it. We've got to get these people clean water. Throwing on 1st and 10. Incomplete, out of bounds.
And to follow on that point there that you made, one thing you know about athletics, it brings everybody together, particularly down here in Jackson. They love their football team. And when Coach Prime got here, it was good to see him take the lead. He was the one calling out local government. He was the one saying, hey, this team is playing for more than just us now. We're playing for the city of Jackson. So I thought that was a little bit of maturity on his part as a college coach, realizing you're the face of the university, of the program, and bringing attention to something that needs to be addressed.
Deion Sanders understands the bigger picture here. 2nd and 10. Eason in trouble. Eludes the first tackler, but he goes down in the backfield. It's a 3-yard loss. In there on the tackle is Dalen Dunn.
And this is a good job of controlling the rush and taking the escape routes away from him. So you see Miquel Pillow Smiley, number 94, the first one to get a hand on him, but there were really no escape routes for Eason to leave the pocket. So that was a nice controlled pass rush up the middle and everybody playing assignment football.
So off that sack, it is now 3rd and 13.
And take a look at number 4, top of your screen in the slot, Ja'Cory Rankin. He's the guy that they expect big things from. In the slot, they say he's their best playmaker.
Eason finds a receiver, but short of the sticks, about 4 or 5 yards short.
But that's good quarterback play. See, I like that if you're Eason. Complete the pass, and then you put it in your head coach's hand. If he feels you got enough yardage to maybe go for it, you can. If not, you want to give yourself an opportunity for a better field goal to keep it a one-score game. Taking what the defense gave him, and you see now, as a quarterback, you just want to put your offense in a position to put points on the board, and right now, the Delta Devils have an opportunity to put points on the board.
So Orlando Fernandez will come out to attempt a 38-yard field goal. Coaching staff really likes this kid's leg. Kick is up and just hooks it left, so no good. Mississippi Valley State had chance, but missed the field goal. It's still 7-0 Jackson State. Welcome back to Jackson, Mississippi. On the first drive of the ballgame on offense for Jackson State, he went 13 plays, 95 yards, and Jalen Jones used his legs, Jed.
Doing a great job of calling his own number, and the athleticism is on display. He's a 75% passer on the season, but the ability to make defenders miss and hurt you with his legs makes him a true dual-threat quarterback.
5 rushing attempts, 30 yards. The longest was that 19-yard touchdown run. Here's the second drive of the game. And he'll pull it back. Jones rolls out to his right, and he'll calmly just throw that one away.
Good quarterback play again by Jones. I mean, that's a jailbreak on the offensive line. You call that jailbreak protection. Look how many of the jerseys of Mississippi Valley State are able to get to the quarterback. 3. That's just, you can't do that. You have to do a better job of holding firm. And even if that's supposed to be a screen pass, the timing's not there at all. They're going to get somebody hurt. And it's a good thing that Jalen Jones is able to escape the pocket.
2nd and 10, hand off to the running back. And that front line of Mississippi Valley State, they came to play today.
I mean, that's the strength of the team right there. And you know, they've got some good linebackers as well with Soignier and Reed, but up front, they get after you. They are feisty. They bring the fight to the game week in and week out. If the defensive line is attacking, controlling the line of scrimmage, that allows the linebackers to play cleanup.
So Alexander with a gain of 2 on that last play brings up a 3rd and 8. Jones has 3 wide receivers to his left. He's looking right, though. One-on-one coverage out there, and he completes it.
What a play.
What a nice pitch and catch to Corey Reed. He noticed single coverage, and he found his man.
I mean, this is phenomenal. He realizes the pressure's coming. This is a stick 9 route up the sideline. Doesn't have a lot of time, but delivers a strike to his receiver going down the sideline. Perfectly thrown ball. That's great execution by Jalen Jones along with Corey Reed.
A 30-yard pickup on 3rd down. That's what they love so much about Jalen Jones. Not only can he run, he's got an arm. He's got some touch on him. And this offense is still growing. And off to Alexander. Tackle from behind for a short gain.
And it seems to me like Mississippi Valley State realizes when Alexander's in the backfield, they're going to try and run him off tackle. They're not going to run him in between the tackles. He likes to bounce outside, so they're stunting one direction or the other, giving up the inside run because they kind of anticipate that Alexander's going to run outside. One thing about Jackson State, though, they've got incredible athletes. Their wide receiver core, Dalen Baldwin, Corey Reed, and Warren Newman, the best in the conference by far as a trio.
2nd and 8, screen pass to the outside, fumbled. Warren Newman, they're going to say incomplete. That was a forward pass. Newman couldn't hold on to it.
And now this is the trivia time right here, John. How many times have we called 3rd and long for Jackson State with the football? And how many times have they converted? They're perfect in this game so far. The defense has won the battle on 1st and 2nd down. Can they finally make a stop to get off the field on 3rd down?
3 for 3 on 3rd downs. Here's another one, 3rd and long. Jones looking downfield, can't find anybody. He's taken off. Got a good block on the edge by Corey Reed, and he will pick up the 1st down.
Frustrating. I mean, they just frustrate you. Right now, the linebackers just aren't quick enough to get there. So the defensive line is doing their job. They're flushing him out of the pocket. But you see V.J. Soignier, number 12, the linebacker, not able to make the open field tackle on Jones, and a good block from Corey Reed on the outside. And Jackson State picks up another 1st down.
You know, we always talk about wide receivers who don't like to block. We got to give them their props when they do. Corey Reed, nicely done. Jones takes off with his legs, slides that down to get out of trouble. Pick up about 4, and a flag will come in at the end of that play. Still having microphone issues with our referee, Y.N. Myers III, but it is holding on the offense, so that'll back him up. That's the 2nd offensive holding so far this game for Jackson State.
And they're going to call that a takedown, and probably an unnecessary takedown by Kylan Ritchie, the tight end, because Jones was clearly not going to be tackled by that defender. But a hold nonetheless, and it helps out.
Well, that'll do it for the 1st quarter here in Jackson, Mississippi. The Tigers scored on their opening drive. They're up 7-0 in this rivalry game. Coach Prime, Sonic Boom of the South. Oh, we got SWAC football on national TV. Well, it's a homecoming for Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils head coach Vincent Dancy. He played safety here at Jackson State, and we had a great conversation with him. You know, he said to us, this is probably the best group of talent I've had since I've been here with the Delta Devils. He feels like this team is going to be the team that really gets them over the hump. But because they had those positive COVID-19 tests the first 2 weeks of the season, that paused their games, he said he's anxious to see what this team will do for 60 minutes in terms of stamina.
And when I see Mississippi Valley State football under Vincent Dancy, they take his personality. And he doesn't want any excuses. He doesn't want to talk about what's happened in the past. He molds these young men, and if you watch the games, they're competitive. They're continuing to trend in the right direction, getting better every week.
This is Tyson Alexander trying to get to the outside. He is wrapped up by Kenneth Martin.
When you talk about, improving every week, this is a program where, their second and third stringers, a lot of those guys are walk-ons. They don't have the depth of a normal team, but he said the drop-off between first team and second team is getting closer, and they're trying to work on their team depth. And it's just a matter of time before they become consistent winners in the SWAC.
3rd and 5. Jones looking downfield, looking end zone, touchdown! Dalen Baldwin lost his man at the goal line. And Jackson State, with their second touchdown, a 30-yard connection.
One of the things I really like about Jackson State offensively, their wide receivers are big. Dalen Baldwin, 6'3", 210. Give him a 50-50 ball, and he's going to find a way to come down with it. You see, that's why you want the big physical wide receivers. When they have to turn and look, that back shoulder fade route makes a nice adjustment. Dalen Baldwin's one of those guys where the coaches said he has NFL potential, just has to believe in it. And that was the one thing Coach Prime was the most upset about from a week ago. Missing PATs. He said, you got to give them to me, fellas. Don't leave me hanging. Well, Coach Prime may just left another point on the board, but yet Jackson State leads 13-0.
Second half, Kawhi and the Clippers are in New Orleans to take on Zion and the Pelicans. Coverage begins 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Ooh, this is what I want to see. Sonic boom of the South. This is SWAC football. The band's in the stand. Let's listen to them. That's what I'm talking about. Now, we know the bands cannot travel in this COVID era, so they did not go on the road last week at Grambling State, but it is good to see the band out there today. Delta Devils return that one to about the 29, a 17-yard return. That's by Ja'Cory Rankin. And their offense will come back out on the field down 13-0.
And once again, tremendous amount of pressure on the offense from Mississippi Valley State. You're down by 13 points. You haven't put any points on the board, and your defense is yet to stop Jackson State. So you have to start getting a sense of urgency if you're offensive coordinator Jared Powers, and this is the time where you call your best stuff. And you can't afford to go down 3 scores to this talented Jackson State football team.
Here comes Jelani Eason. Started the game. He's the grad transfer out of Portland State. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield. He's throwing, completes that pass. Gain of 7. That's to Jarius Clayton.
And although they have not scored yet, they have moved the ball. I mean, they've been able to cross midfield both times they've possessed the football in this game, but they just don't have anything to show for it. This is where you have to start getting the ball to some of your playmakers. Clayton, and we talked about Rankin, the wide receiver, who they think can be a difference maker for them. Malik Myers, number 9. If they're going to give you the passing lanes, you have to attack a defense that's playing soft zone coverage.
A little confusion on the snap there. Here comes the flag. Full start on the Delta Devils. Will back them up 5 yards. You know, when Jelani Eason has thrown in the air, he has not looked bad. I mean, he looks like he's got some nice touch. His favorite target has been Clayton. 3 receptions for 22 yards. There's some potential here.
It seems like he makes good decisions with the football. It's just a matter of the little nuances of the game that seem to be getting in the way and impeding what they're able to do offensively.
So after the penalty, it'll be 2nd and 8. They're throwing back to Clayton. Pickup of about 3.
And once again, that was Jelani Eason making a good decision. Runner wasn't there and throws an accurate football in the face of pressure to pick up positive yardage and come up with a third manageable after the penalty on the previous play. One thing I want to see him do, I want to see him take off. I think what you have to do against Jackson State is you have to establish some type of quarterback running game to hurt you, or else they're pretty content coming with the mediocre pass rush and getting some pressure on the edge.
Delta Devils 2 for 4 so far on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 5. Swing pass out of the backfield. That's going to go to the running back, Darian Williams.
Now this will be what I would call question time, depending on the spot of the football. But they gave him enough, so he's got the 1st down.
Yeah, first catch today, picks up a 1st down. Stays in the game now. He's got a handoff. So gain of 3, and we see a little tempo from this offense for the Delta Devils. Starting to pick up the pace here. 2nd and 7. Eason in trouble. Eludes the pressure. Still on his feet. And scampers out of bounds for a little gain, but that was impressive not to go down in the backfield.
And something Eason needs to show, being a grad transfer there, show some leadership. You cannot allow your center to keep missing the snap. We've seen that several times where the snap has been low and to the left. Very fortunate to hold on to that football. That's when you need to, even though you're a no-huddle offense, you need to go to number 55, Ross, and say, we've seen you miss, and when you got a timing offense, that snap has to be like clockwork. Can't miss to the left or to the right. It's got to be right where the quarterback wants it. So keep an eye on that. Let's see if Ross can get the snaps going.
1-yard gain, that'll bring up 3rd and 7. Ja'Cory Rankin, the man in motion, throwing downfield, little high, intended for Malik Myers.
The snap there again, a little bit low at the knee. When you're trying to throw a stick post route or a skinny post, that's a timing route. You need to have everything in sync, and just not there between the quarterback and the center right now.
Delta Devils will bring out the punting unit on 4th and 7. Orlando Fernandez also is the kicker. He's the punter. He's your special teams guy. Got a timeout by Mississippi Valley State.
Timeout.
So that's the first timeout of the half for the Delta Devils. We're going to take this break with you. 4th and 7 upcoming. Step aside. We'll come back after this. This all-access docuseries, executive produced by NBA All-Star Chris Paul and ESPN Stephen A. Smith, is the first project to debut under the undefeated on ESPN.com. It's about North Carolina Central's basketball squad, what they've had to go through this season. I can't wait to check that out.
Head coach Lavelle Moten down at North Carolina Central, one of the rising stars in the coaching profession, particularly for mid-majors.
How about a little trickeration on the punt return by Jackson State? DeJohn Warren with the return sets up the Tigers in good position. Jalen Jones has done really well so far in this ballgame. 2 touchdowns, and he comes from an athletic family. His mother, Tanya, was a high jumper for the '92 Olympic team. His father, Michael, well, he was the captain on the 1990 Colorado championship team. And don't forget about his sister, Jocelyn. She played basketball at UNC and at Seton Hall, so he comes from a very athletic family. First and 10. Hand off to his running back, Alexander.
You talk about the athleticism in the family for Jalen Jones, and from that, they call it that Henrico, Tidewater, Richmond area in Virginia, very athletic part of the country. They're known for their sports. His father, Michael, played on that Colorado national championship team. You know you got to put that asterisk by them, right? Because they call that the fifth down team, right? I'll teach you some history on that later. A controversial win there to stay undefeated. But
I'm trying to highlight Jones. Don't cheat. Don't cheat him here.
Got to tease his pops a little bit.
On second down, Jones is throwing another deep completion, but was it picked off?
Now,
the referees are trying to decide.
If they caught it, simultaneous possession goes with the offense. And I think that's what they're going to say. And I think that was a good job of acting by Corey Reed, because it actually looked like the defensive back was in better position, William Morgan, to make the interception. But if they both come down with it, that ball goes to the offense. Simultaneous possession stays with the offense.
Now you see the Tigers rush up to the line. They're trying to get a playoff here. That was a 25-yard completion. And I love the effort by Corey Reed to come back to the ball and make that play and just take it away from the defender. So Mississippi Valley State is going to challenge the ruling on the field that was a completed pass for Jackson State.
And I understand why you challenge it. I mean, why not take a look at it? But Coach Dancy, he was a defensive back himself when he played at Jackson State, and sure he knows the rule. He just thinks his guy might have got it cleanly, but the replay here says it's kind of indecisive. It looks like number 9 has it, then they both have it, and they're on the ground, and he's got a hand on it. Woo! I think the end part of that is going to be the key.
Well, our replay official is Harold Cooper, and I don't envy him right now because this is a tough decision to make.
Ooh.
So Reed initially comes back, gets the ball, but when they go to the ground, that's the question. William Morgan, does he pull it away before they go to the ground?
At the end of it, I'm going to stick with what I saw initially. You know, I think this is simultaneous possession when they hit the ground. When both knees hit the ground, they both have the football. What happens after that doesn't matter. He still kept a hand on the football, then it became, that's simultaneous possession. That's a good heads-up play by William Morgan and Corey Reed. That's just football there, and the rules benefit the offense in that situation.
How about the trust they've got in Jalen Jones right now? Initially, they were using him on the ground, a lot of quarterback runs, but they're slowly opening up this playbook. They're letting him air it out now.
And this will be a big call, because if they call it the interception, then that'll be the first interception on the season for Jalen Jones. So he's been perfect thus far, trusting his wide receivers to make a play. And I said it earlier, that's why I like having 6'3" wide receivers. They can come back and help you when you're not as accurate on the throw as you could be.
Well, the key here is that the ruling on the field was a completed pass for Jackson State. So the replay official, Harold Cooper, has got to see something definitive to overturn that.
Thinking if they're taking this long, then are they possibly looking at where the spot is? I mean, this is a long replay. I think when it gets this long, dicey things can happen. How do you see it, John? I gave you my opinion.
I agree with you. I think it's simultaneous. Here we go. So unfortunately, we cannot hear our referee. But the play does stand. So a 25-yard completion to Corey Reed. And this Jackson State offense is back in business.
And this is where Jackson State is so potent. I mean, offensively, we've seen them score points. 53 in the first week, 33 a week ago. And it's because they're really balanced. I mean, they've got good running backs. They've got a quarterback playing at a high level and very athletic big wide receivers. And then they've got Mr. Explosive in the slot, number 10, Warren Newman. Once you start to focus on the outside passing game, he can hurt you from the slot.
1st and 10 from the 38. Jones keeps it himself, rolls out. He's got a man wide open down the field. Dalen Baldwin, no one's going to get him. Touchdown, Jackson State.
This team's pretty good, John. They've got a rhythm. They're going against a very aggressive defense in Mississippi Valley State. They're finding ways to pick them apart and yet to punt or even go for a field goal. Good job of getting out of the pocket. Nice touch on the ball over the outstretched arms of number 6, Keontae Daniels. And Baldwin goes in for another touchdown for Jackson State.
So head coach Deion Sanders, he's done with these missed extra points. They're going for 2.
I've never seen a head coach so upset. And his philosophy made sense to him. He said, you have to give me that. It's an extra point. It's not the NFL where they have you kicking it from 35 yards away. He said, if you can't give me those points that I need to have, then I think he's going to go away with it and say, hey, let's make up these 2 points right now.
Now, in fairness, he said about his kickers, I can understand if you miss a field goal. It's the extra points, though, that I'm not going to excuse you on. And they missed 3 extra points, 1 missed field goal in the last 2 weeks, and that's just not going to get it done.
So coming out of here, I wouldn't be surprised. They like to turn Jalen Jones back to the defense and go with some type of bootleg action.
Look at that crowd at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Limited capacity, but they are showing out for the home SWAC opener. Spring football with head coach Deion Sanders. All right, so here we go. 2-point conversion. Jalen Jones, the quarterback. In the backfield is Alexander.
Got him.
Jones throws over the middle, completes it. 2-point conversion is good to his tight end, Kylan Ritchie.
Too easy.
And if you can't make extra points, you're just going to have to do it the 2-point conversion route. You might see a lot more of this as the season goes on. Welcome back to Jackson, Mississippi. John Triffin alongside my partner Jay Walker, and this offense from the Tigers has been impressive early on. Jalen Jones, we saw him run it in once. He's got 2 passing touchdowns to his wide receiver, Dalen Baldwin. And head coach Deion Sanders has got to be happy with his son behind him getting ready. His son might take over the reins at quarterback after we get out of this spring football here.
It'll be interesting, but it's going to be a tough decision as you look at Jason Phillips, the offensive coordinator, because Jalen Jones is playing at such a high level. And, you know, as much as they talk about competition here at Jackson State, what they start to believe in, competition at every position, you have to think that's going to be a competition as well. And I don't think they're just going to hand it over to the younger Sanders, but he's going to have to earn it if he's going to take it from Jones.
All right, Mississippi Valley State. Ooh. Nice hit with the special teams coverage. They are down 21-0. They haven't played all that bad, but when it's your first game of this spring season, you're coming off of a 2-week COVID pause. Not really sure what you're going to get. How do they get this offense going?
I think, you have to just convert on the little things. And they're playing like a team playing their first game. They're showing some flashes of having their identity, what they want to do offensively, moving the football, but then they're making the little mistakes. They're taking the 5-yard penalty for jumping off sides or illegal formation. Those little things. So I think that's starting to play out. You want your team to settle down and take it one play at a time, one score at a time. They got to get on the board.
Jelani Eason is coming out throwing. That one is incomplete, intended for Donald Johnson.
And Eason was a little bit of the unknown. He was the one where they said he's the leader, and the graduate student transfer from Portland State has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because of the way his career played out at Portland State. I think, this is the time where if you're Jelani Eason, you want to start making some plays. big plays. He's been throwing the ball intermediate pretty well, but you got to come up with that play that gives you an offensive spark.
The Devils will run it on 2nd and 10 for a short gain of about 2.
It's one of those situations, 3rd and 8, where they desperately need this, or this game is going to get even uglier. The way the Jackson State offense is clicking on all cylinders.
So 3rd and 8. Caleb Johnson's the man in the backfield. Jarius Clayton, the man in motion. Eason. Complete, but short of the first down marker. That's Tavius Porter, his tight end. And it brings up 4th and 3.
And it's surprising to me because where you are on the field, if you don't get it, you're going to punt the football away. I don't know if Eason is just getting rid of the ball quickly, or are they calling just these 3-step drops that they know are going to be short of the first down because they feel like the pass rush from Jackson State is going to disrupt them. But we've seen Eason get rid of the ball quick. He's not holding it at all. And now I'm starting to question whether or not that's called from the sideline or that's just Eason making up his mind where he's going with the football.
Warren Newman on the punt return for Jackson State. He's got a little daylight. Cuts it back left. Makes another guy miss. And he will be dropped at the 20. A nice return by Warren Newman. 48-yard punt return.
Mr. Explosive when he plays the slot as the wide receiver, but here showing you he can do it on special teams, weaving down the football field, making would-be tacklers miss. Warren Newman, the senior from New Orleans, Louisiana, enjoying his time here at Jackson State. What about the story Coach Prime told us about Warren Newman? He said, a guy like Warren Newman's why I'm coaching the game. He's a guy that's never late. He's a hard worker. He should be a CEO of a company when he leaves Jackson State. If he keeps that work ethic and the opportunities that he gets. And that's what the vision of what the prime time era at Jackson State's all about. Win football games, but win in life as well.
1st and 10 for Jalen Jones. Flushed out of the pocket. Still looking downfield. Got to get rid of it. And incomplete. Pass was intended to his running back, Tyson Alexander.
See, when you look at Warren Newman, he said he's 5'8", 175 pounds. That size is going to kind of be a knock against him trying to play at the next level. But because of his work ethic and how he works and approaches life, he'll be successful.
Jones. Dalen Baldwin again. That's his 3rd touchdown catch of the day. And the defense has got to find him, because there's another connection between Jones and Baldwin.
Wide open. And now the throws aren't even becoming difficult for Jalen Jones. He's escaping out of the pocket, rolling, and his wide receivers are open by 5 or 6 yards. Complete breakdown by the defense of Mississippi Valley State. And it may be an instance where they've just been on the field too much in the first half, and now we're starting to see that conditioning you talked about earlier, and being on the field so long, the wear and tear.
Well, after 2-play, 20-yard touchdown, they go for the 2-point conversion, and they will be stopped short. Let's take another look at that touchdown, Jay.
As a quarterback, it gets no more open than that. You're going to your right, your receiver's coming to your right with them. The defensive back 5 yards behind, Caleb Brunson missed, and that's just stealing right there.
Well, they said Jalen Jones is still maturing. They don't want to throw everything at him yet, but I don't know. He looks like he's ready for the full playbook today.
making great decisions with the football, and still yet to throw an interception on the season. Ball distribution there, and finding the hot receiver, David Baldwin. He keeps getting open like that. You tell him, you get open, I'll find you. And that's been the recipe for success, and still so impressed with Jones' maturity off the field, becoming more of a team guy. Instead, I heard some people last year say he was a lot of I guy, but his leadership this season, and I think that comes from the new coaching regime. They might have humbled him and let him know, you're going to work for this, and good things come to those that work hard for it. And he's playing football at a very high level. This is what they expected from him a season ago. They're getting it from him this year.
You know the other thing that's impressive and almost scary for other teams in the SWAC? This team is only going to get better once you get into the fall, because this spring football team is playing against the scout team players who are not eligible yet, and their scout team is scary good. That's why this offense is clicking, because they are playing against high D1 guys in practice. When you look at Jackson State's 2021 class, and they are loaded. You know, Coach Deion Sanders and his coaching staff, they have put together a heck of a recruiting class.
I think it says at the bottom, the first FCS school ever to sign multiple, I mean more than one top 300 prospect. We talk about DeJuan Warren. We've seen him today. He's playing right now, the junior college transfer who's got the NFL talent. These guys there, Coach Sanders, Coach Prime, he makes it clear, the SWAC better get me now, because when my other guys come, we're getting better. And that's that confidence that he believes in. I'm not going to doubt him. We've seen the performance they've had this year thus far. Impressive looking group, and they say, I believe. Well, I think the team is starting to believe. And as a team, once you start to believe, anything is possible.
So this is the best starting field position of the day for Mississippi Valley State. They will hand the ball off, run to the outside. Good pickup by Darian Williams.
Williams is a guy who transferred from East Carolina University, and he said he liked his elusiveness in the backfield, the ability to make tacklers miss. A little bit of a change-up to Caleb Johnson.
It's 27-0 here. Jackson State on top here in the second quarter. Eason throwing downfield. He's got a man open, but cannot complete the catch. Ja'Cory Rankin was tiptoeing the sideline, incomplete.
They have the opportunity. They caught Jackson State in the blitz, which means you have man-to-man coverage, and Rankin was well behind the defensive secondary and just needs a better thrown ball. Even if he caught it clean, it would have been out of bounds, but a missed opportunity for a huge play.
We've seen flashes out of this Delta Devils offense. They just haven't been able to put together a complete drive yet. 2nd and 10. Eason pressured. Ball is out. Fumble. Who's got it? Jackson State football.
It's Keyshawn Brinkley coming away with the fumble, but a great job by Miquel Pillow Smiley on the strip sack. Number 94, Mano Imano beats his man to the target, gets to the quarterback, gets the strip and the sack, and Jackson State, everybody's getting involved in the action. That defensive line where we've been talking about them need to be a little bit more aggressive. Well, it was Pillow Smiley versus Lofton, and he won that battle and got the play.
Well, after that turnover, this is the 2nd straight start in Mississippi Valley State territory for the Tigers offense. Got just under 7 minutes to play here in this second quarter. Already up 27-0. 4 drives so far today. Jackson State, 4 touchdowns. They are clicking. So 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Jalen Jones in the shotgun. Bobbled the snap. Now he's looking downfield. Wow. And he's got his guy again, Dalen Baldwin. They've got something going. There's a flag down, though.
Probably pass interference against the defense. Looked like there was a collision. He's got his arm wrapped around the waist, was trying to realize that he was beat, was just trying to bring him down to stop the big play, but it should be pass interference on DeMario Nichols, number 25.
Pass interference will be declined. It won't even matter. I mean, trying to pull down Baldwin before the ball got there, and Baldwin has the concentration to still make the catch.
Yeah, and how about what we're seeing from Dalen Baldwin? His story from Southfield, Michigan, went to Morgan State University originally over in the MEAC in Baltimore. When they made a coaching change, he decided he was going to transfer out, sat out a year, and now he's on full display, the 6'3" 210-pound target who coaches rave about.
It's Warren Newman. Nice pickup. Brings up 2nd down.
The knock on Baldwin was if he had more confidence, if he knew what a dominating player he was, he could be good. And I think he's starting to believe. Talk about that I believe down at Jackson State. Well, I think Baldwin is starting to believe that he's a dominant player.
Tyson Alexander trying to get on the party. He is met with a bunch of tacklers. You know what's interesting on the previous play, on that toss pass to Newman, that was the first pass completion under 10 yards for this Jackson State offense today.
Going downfield, hitting you with the home run ball.
Another 3rd down. So far, the Tigers 5 of 5 on 3rd downs today. This one is 3rd and 7. Jones. And a flag will... That play is dead. Well, we can't hear the ref, but we heard somebody else. False start number 9. That's Corey Reed on offense. So that'll back him up 5 yards.
And yet we've seen Jackson State in this position before. They've been able to overcome penalties on 3rd and long before pick up the 1st down. It has been an offensive explosion for the Tigers.
Potentially 2-down territory here with this kicking game. So 3rd and 12. Screen pass to Alexander for a short gain. And with the way they've been missing extra points, do they go for it here on 4th?
Well, I would have thought with that play selection they were setting up to go for it on 4th down, but didn't pick up quite as much as they wanted. When you're up by 27, you can maybe try and give your kicker a little confidence, see if they can work out the kinks in the kicking game.
Well, they are going to bring out their kicker. That's Noah Anderson. He was 1 of 3 for extra points last week and missed a 35-yarder. This one from 29 is good. That's right. Get a fist bump from your coach, Noah Anderson.
Maybe that can be the turning point there. You know, it's something we had some good little crowd shots earlier.
Tomorrow, we'll have the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again this year. Break down every team and every matchup in each region. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, with a bonus hour coverage at 8 on ESPNU.
How about that? Congratulations to Jackson State. The Lady Tigers are advancing to the dance.
Congratulations, that is big. Yesterday, I had the honor of calling the MEAC Women's Basketball Championship. It was a battle. It was a thriller. North Carolina A&T hit a 3-pointer with 3 seconds left to beat Howard University. So congratulations to the Aggies.
I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. John, show me some love, man. You know where you're partnering with school.
I spent some time at the Mecca, too, so I bleed Howard blue as well, but I called the game. I got to show some love to North Carolina A&T.
You could have congratulated North Carolina A&T and just said they're going to the championship. I didn't mention who Jackson State beat to make it to the SWAC, to make it to the NCAA. You just.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. It was a good game, though. It was actually epic. Jackson State will kick off. Bobbled. Ball is still loose. Does look like Delta Devils jump back on top of it, though. Let's see what the referees say as they peel back the bodies from the scrum. No! Jackson State with a turnover on special teams. Looks like Caleb Brunson came out with that ball. So Darian Williams bobbled it for the Delta Devils. And then Caleb Brunson was the first one on it for the Tigers.
Just a good job. Once you see juggles it, that's a great job by number 28 coming down, not trying to get on the football. Hit the return man so he cannot recover the fumble and allow the rest of the special teams unit to come on board.
So that's 2 turnovers now by Mississippi Valley State. That'll bring Jackson State's high-powered offense back on the field, already up 30-0. Jones fires it. End zone. Touchdown. No, excuse me, incomplete pass. Incomplete, intended for Corey Reed. That was a laser by Jalen Jones.
They're trying to stick it in there, and that ball could have been caught. But a good job of catching up to the play by William Morgan, number 11, getting back in play.
That was a heck of a throw. I mean, I'm so used to calling touchdowns from this offense. I thought it was going to be complete here as I'm watching this game from home. So incomplete on that first down play. 2nd and 10. Handoff. Alexander spins for maybe another gain of about 2 or 3. Brings up 3rd down.
And that's been the challenge. I think they're going to look for something to try and get going in what you coach up. The lack of being able to run the football with their running backs today. The defensive line for Mississippi Valley State has won the battle of control the line of scrimmage. And it's been Jalen Jones responsible for the rushing attack.
Five of 6 on 3rd downs today. It's 3rd and 7. Jones looking left, throws over the middle, short hops his man, incomplete. 4th down.
Going for another field goal? Do you kick it again to try and see if your special teams can convert twice? Going off script. That's something we've seen from Coach Prime, the coach.
Still on the field. That's the first time this offense has thrown consecutive incomplete passes. On 4th and 7, Tigers leaving the offense on the field. Let's see what Jalen Jones has up his sleeve on this one. Sees the pressure, avoids it, throwing end zone, but incomplete. He's going for Warren Newman in the end zone. So Jackson State up 30-0. John Schriffen alongside my partner, former NFL quarterback Jay Walker. Jay, what have you seen so far out of Jackson State? They look really good, right?
Yeah, when you talk to Jackson State, and I thought they might have been not really taking their opponent seriously, but they said, you know what, the challenge is ourselves. We're not even looking who we're playing this week. We're going to challenge ourselves to go out and see who we are. What can we do? That's what this week was about, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. They said they had to challenge themselves to get better after giving up some points last week versus Grambling, and I think they've done a good job. They focused on their keys. The offense is clicking, and the defense is now starting to match the offensive output. So Coach Prime's got them going in the right direction, and they're beating a team which they should beat. But let's not forget, last year, Jackson State, Mississippi Valley went to overtime, and Mississippi Valley was up 21-0 at halftime. And here in 2021, spring football season, it's just the opposite with Jackson State up by 30.
Jelani Eason just ran for 15 yards there. He's pressured, and he's going to get out of the pocket and safely get down for a gain of 3. I mean, we can't forget, this is a rivalry game. If viewers are new to the SWAC, these two teams, this is a big one. I mean, for Mississippi Valley State, it's like their Super Bowl. If they could come in here, if they were able to pull off the upset, this would have made their spring season.
Yeah, it's a Valley. You know, well, Jackson State expects to beat Mississippi Valley all the time. They always do. And for Valley, when they do get those victories, it's that much more sweeter. And I think coming off the game last year where they thought they had a chance of doing it, they expected a better result today as a missed interception by Kevin Berthy from Jackson State.
Yeah, Berthy was really the closest to it, playing safety over the shoulder just through his hands. He's going to want that one back.
And when your head coach is Deion Sanders, you need some explaining to do right there. Prime, I'm sure Coach Prime's going to say, how'd you miss that?
There's going to be some over-the-shoulder drills in practice this week.
Absolutely.
So 3rd and 7 for the Delta Devils. Eason, swing pass off the mark, incomplete, intended for Ja'Cory Rankin.
You know,
well, John after the play, you see that? Aubrey Miller getting in the wide receiver's face. Linebacker letting him know, this is our house.
They would do that. Just think, I mean, 30-0. And we talk about Mississippi Valley State. This is the school of Jerry Rice. You know, Willie Totten. You know, Satellite Express, good look there. Willie Totten, College Football Hall of Fame quarterback. One of the best to ever spin it. They came out with a lot of fight early, but it just, you knew when they didn't put those points on the board, this game had the potential for the wheels to fall off. And Jelani Eason just not able to get his team in the end zone.
Mississippi Valley State will punt it away. Warren Newman does not have a chance to return it as that one goes out of bounds.
Take a look there, Willie Totten. Love the name. Willie Satellite Totten. Is that one of the best names you can have, John, as a quarterback? Satellite? And thrown to his target, Jerry World Rice, as he was known. And you talk about Jerry Rice and Totten, they say their best victory as a combination was when they beat Jackson State. That's when they knew they were legit. And one of the best wide receiver quarterback duos to ever do it. And so much so, the stadium in Itta Bena, Mississippi is called Totten Rice Stadium.
How about that? I mean, that was back in the mid-'80s. Mississippi Valley State trying to get back to their heyday. I mean, just look at the numbers from that '84 squad. It was just an offensive explosion. Look at all-time NCAA ranks. First. I mean, that's you're not going to touch that.
Give credit to Archie Gunslinger Cooley, their head coach there at the time. And think about how much college football has changed now. Well, the things that you're starting to see a lot of teams do now with these bunch formations and bubble formations and wide receiver screens, they were doing that in '84 because everybody would game plan on how do you stop Jerry Rice. And those numbers still stand today. That's incredible.
So a new quarterback in for Jackson State is Quincy Casey. He's going to hand off to Kamani Clark. And Clark will fight for a few yards, brings up 3rd down.
And Casey's in the game, but it was good to see Jalen Jones on the sideline acting as if he's ready to go back in the game. The coaches held him back, so they'll probably let Casey finish off at least this half and possibly the rest of the game.
See Quincy Casey, 6'2", 185. He's a redshirt freshman out of Memphis, Tennessee. The second play, he's going to go throwing to the sideline. Nice catch made by Corey Reed.
They've got some playmakers at wide receiver. Great concentration on the back shoulder throw, secures the football, feet in bounds.
You know, it's interesting, like, after they had such a good running attack last week against Grambling State. We expected to see a heavy dose of Tyson Alexander, but it's the air attack that's been so effective for Jackson State today.
Yeah, and give credit to the defensive line for Mississippi Valley State. They stopped the run early. But I like the adjustment by Jackson State to say, well, if you're going to stop the run, we're going to show you the other weapons we have and throw the football. And they've been getting fantastic quarterback play, particularly from Jalen Jones.
Casey's pass incomplete to his tight end, Richie. There is a flag down. Nope, I apologize. They picked up the flag. So 1:03 to play here in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. Screen pass to the outside. And that is sniffed out. Nice play on the outside by Isaiah Latham.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic open field tackle by Latham. If he doesn't make that tackle, that's a touchdown going into the end zone.
So 3rd and 12. This is the first drive for the redshirt freshman quarterback Quincy Casey for Jackson State. Clock winding down. 26 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. 3rd down. They'll just hand the ball off to Clark. And Clark is dropped. A loss of 1. And the Delta Devils, I mean, up front, that has been the way from the opening kick. They have not allowed any running room for this Jackson State offense.
Yeah. Now I'm a little worried about, this is the chess match within the chess match, so the running game's been stopped, but a little interesting that Mississippi Valley State chose to call a timeout in this situation right here where Jackson State was trying to run it out and go into the half.
Coming up at the half, we'll have Jay Walker's Gimme 5. You don't want to miss Mississippi Valley State's 5 legends. North Carolina Central, why not us? Cameras following them all season, the basketball squad, and we'll bring you all the stats and highlights, get you caught up on how Jackson State put up 30 points here in this first half.
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to give you all the Jackson State highlights at halftime because there hasn't been much for Mississippi Valley State, unfortunately.
So first punt of the day for the Tigers. Glenn Missick is on. Just does get that one away. Muffed. But the Delta Devils do fall back on it at the 25-yard line. So 6 seconds remaining. Are you going to try to do anything here?
No, I'm going into the halftime, and pretty much his own guy that ran into him. So they're lucky that they were able to recover the football in what's been a pretty disappointing first half for Vincent Dancy's Delta Devil football team. That is one of the better, more unique names in college sports, though. Delta Devils, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like it. I mean, even though they're down 30-0, they've showed a lot of fight early on here in this first half. They're coming off of a 2-week COVID pause. Let's see what they talk about at halftime, because it has been all Jackson State here in this first half. Head coach Deion Sanders, after an impressive win last week over Grambling State, is trying to go 3-0 this first season here as a head coach for the Tigers. Now we're getting a chance to talk with head coach Deion Sanders. We understand he's about to get on headsets. Coach, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Still waiting to connect with head coach Deion Sanders for Jackson State.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Coach, you're up 30-0 at the half. Thanks so much for joining us. How would you assess your first half performance?
A little sloppy in some areas, but overall, I'm happy. I'm not elated or excited, but I'm happy. 3:35, we elected to go for it on 4th down. We probably should have took the 3, but I want to get our guys ready, for understanding in situations like that. We're not doing our job in extra points, so we got to let the extra point guys and the field goal guys know that we'll go for it and we can get it. but we got to do a better job of executing extra points. Special teams are vital.
All right, Coach. Well, you got the lead on the scoreboard. I know going into the week, it seemed like your coaching staff, the deal was, let's find out who we are. It's not about them. Who are we? And talk about who are we. How about Jalen Jones? How is Jalen Jones?
Jalen Jones is playing excellent. He's playing superb. I think he swings a little growing right now, but he's a warrior. He wants to go back out there and compete, and I understand that, and we may let it. We're going to access it at halftime, but I love what he's doing. But you got to understand the line is making it possible. The receivers are making some heck of a plays. Overall, it's a valiant effort, and the defense is throwing a goose egg right now. We just got to continue. Third quarters, we're losing third quarters of 7-6 in the previous 2 games. We got to come out of third quarter, we get the ball, and go down and score and put this game away.
Appreciate that, head coach. Thanks for spending some time with us. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you, D. I love JSU, baby.
That's Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders. He has got his club rolling here. The SWAC home opener up 30-0 at the half over Mississippi Valley State. We're at the half here in Jackson, Mississippi, with the Tigers in control, up 30-0 over Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. You're looking at the Sonic Boom of the South, the legendary marching band for Jackson State. What's up, everybody? Welcome back inside our homes due to COVID-19 restrictions. We're broadcasting this game away from the stadium. John Schriffen alongside my partner, former NFL quarterback Jay Walker. And Jay, it's that time. Give me your 5 legends for Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, they're going to need them right now, too. So let's give this little addition and give me 5 for you. I wonder, you think that kid there could have been a Valley legend? I don't know. They got some pretty legendary names that you must need to know if you're going to follow Mississippi Valley State football. Number 5, how about this? Sam Washington, currently known as being the head coach of the HBCU national champion North Carolina A&T Aggies. He starred at defensive back here at Mississippi Valley State. Number 4, let's stick with the coaching thing. Archie Cooley, he was the mastermind ahead of his time regarding the offensive formations and the skill set. He coached the offense that broke every single NCAA passing record. He was a legend. The gunslinger got his thing done down here. And if you're going to be a coach, you need to have a quarterback, right? Well, number 3, one of the most underestimated quarterbacks in the history of college football, a man by the name of Pernell Dickerson. He's a member of the Black College Hall of Fame, had an opportunity to play in the NFL as well. He could throw the football all over the field. What's up, Pernell? I got you, homeboy. Number 2, we're going to keep with quarterbacks. We talked about him a little bit earlier during this game. Willie Satellite Cotton, the leader of the Satellite Express when he was throwing the football all over the place. Willie Cotton is also a member of the Black College Football Hall of Fame because he could throw the football, had an opportunity to go to camp at the San Diego Chargers. So we talked about that. A lot of offense here, even though Washington was a defensive guy, but they were putting up some points and numbers here, John.
And don't leave us hanging.
I'm going to leave you hanging. If you can't figure it out, if you don't know, now you know. You better ask somebody. Come on now. The GOAT, the greatest of all time, Jerry World Rice, as he was known in Itabena, Mississippi, the greatest wide receiver in the history of the NFL, also the greatest wide receiver in college football history. On the bubble, here goes some names you don't know. Defensive back Ashley Ambrose, and one of my old teammates with the New England Patriots, Vincent Brown, the Undertaker. One name missing off this list because I got to put an asterisk by it. Deacon Jones also played at Mississippi Valley State, but they kind of share him with South Carolina State, so this is just a strict Valley list right here. That's my Gimme 5. You want to talk about it? Hit me up on Twitter. Holla.
I love it. Just went to school there. Get a history lesson in the SWAC. You're looking at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Jackson State's up 30-0 at the half.
Excuse. Don't be tournament challenged.
It's halftime here in Jackson, Mississippi. It is all Jackson State early on, 30-0 over their rivals, Mississippi Valley State. The Delta Devils offense has been clicking for the Tigers. It is a privilege to be able to have HBCU football on national TV. And Jay, we got more coming up. What are your early thoughts on this SWAC standings?
Prairie View 2-0, Arkansas Pine Bluff, impressive victory to get to 1-0 over a very good, talented Southern University team there. Jackson State doing what they're supposed to do. However, keep in mind their next games they play, Alabama State, Prairie View, Southern, Alabama A&M. Their toughest games are ahead of them. Although they're making a good run and they're winning the games on their schedule now, things are only going to get considerably tougher for the Jackson State Tigers because they've got a tough stretch coming up, and all these teams want to win in the spring football season. Anything is possible.
So I was going to ask you about that because Alcorn State, we saw, opted out of playing spring football. How much can we take away by what we see on the field here in the spring?
Very competitive, and I think, as a coach, you've got so many different things you have to overcome. Alcorn's not here. You can't worry about it. And the SWAC is going to look different in the fall because Alcorn is going to the west. So I want to see what happens with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Keep an eye on what Doc has got them doing in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and very impressive victory for Eric Dooley at Prairie View A&M. They can score some points. But the game right now, if I had to circle a game of the year, it is when this Jackson State Tiger team is going to face an offensive-minded team in Alabama A&M with quarterback Aqeel Glass, one of the best to do it on the FCS level. He can throw the football. So there's some interesting games that are going to take place within this upcoming season, particularly in the SWAC. But let's not forget about the MEAC as well.
Don't forget about the MEAC. We got Howard University on March 27th taking on Delaware State. On ESPN3. We got Grambling State against Alabama A&M. That's on March 27th. And shout out to our employer ESPN highlighting HBCU football on national TV. This is what we love to see. There are players all around the country who just need a little shine because they can play.
Circle that date, March 28th. That's Prairie View versus Jackson State. That'll be their first toughest test of the season.
We're at the half. I think fans are checking on Twitter because Jackson State, I'm told, is trending on Twitter right now. Up 30-0 over Mississippi Valley State. Coming up, we'll give you all the highlights and stats from the first half. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. We are at the half in beautiful Jackson, Mississippi, with the Tigers a commanding 30-0 lead over Mississippi Valley State. Limited capacity inside Veterans Memorial Stadium, but the fans are there, the band is there, and Jay, it is good to see college football back in action, even though it is on a Sunday afternoon. Love it.
All right, I can get used to this, but everybody seems to be having a good time if you're a fan of Jackson State football. Even Coach Prime getting into it, and it's good to see the smile on his face a little bit. He's gone under the microscope tremendously being the head coach there, done a good job of handling that and promoting his players at the same time. But let's not forget, anytime you got an offense that's putting up over 30 points in every contest, oh yeah, you like that. They got it going.
Coach Prime has done an outstanding job, and really he's been getting his quarterback ready, Jalen Jones, who had an impressive first half for Jackson State.
He's played great all season long. He came into the game as a 75% passer and has not thrown an interception all season long. And he's hitting the open man and making the plays with his legs when required to do it. I think the fact that he's making good decisions with the football, and at times you can just tell he's the best offensive player on the field in terms of making things happen as a dual threat. Look at those numbers. Efficient, more efficiency, playing at a very high level, 200 yards passing, and it's just halftime. Jalen Jones is having a whale of a 2021 spring football campaign.
Not only is it just halftime, but he didn't even play the full first half because his backup Quincy Casey came in after they went up 30-0. So those numbers are really impressive. And his wide receiver, Dalen Baldwin, man, they found something early and he kept going to him.
Yeah, the thing about it, when you look at Jackson State, they've got a great offensive philosophy, but they got some dudes, man. I mean, they've got some, they can out-athlete you on the offensive side of the ball. At the running back position with Tyson Alexander and Kalani Clark. The wide receivers in Baldwin, Reed, and Newman, the best you're going to find. So this is a team where they've got so many offensive weapons. However, let's not forget a week ago, the offense was on fire, and then Grambling figured them out and slowed them down a little bit. Let's see if they can come out, and I'm sure that was a challenge that Coach Prime made to his team in the locker room. And we got to go out here and win this third quarter and dominate, because that has not been their track record so far this season.
Jackson State will receive the ball first here in this second half. Let's see how the team responds, up 30-0. Orlando Fernandez will boot it off for Mississippi Valley Delta. Short kick at around the 19. And after a short return, the Jackson State high-powered offense come back out. But wait, there is a flag on the field. We've been having some issues all day with Y.N. Myers III, our referee, his microphone. Still don't have it back yet, but we can read lips. Holding on the returning team. So I will back him up. Let's see who comes out at quarterback in the second half for Jackson State. Jalen Jones had an impressive first half. Quincy Casey got in there for a drive.
Finish it up. I would anticipate you want Jones to go out there, because if you're stressing we have to do better in the third quarter, then you bring out Jones to see if he can get it going in the third quarter. However, if I'm Jalen Jones, coach, fellas, let's go out here. Let's do 2 good drives. Let's take care of our business, and let's watch the fourth quarter from the sideline.
All right, here we go. Third quarter. Opening drive for Jackson State. They started with a handoff up the middle. Tyson Alexander finally getting some room. He's been bottled up all day.
A few times they've been able to get to the second level running the football. Defensive line not able to collapse and make the tackle. And Alexander showing you his explosive speed.
Swing pass, that is blown up on the outside. Incomplete pass. That'll bring up second down.
And let's see what the defensive adjustments can be made for Mississippi Valley State. That's what's so perplexing about it. They played well, but they just could not get off the field on third down in the first half.
Third downs, trying to set up a screen pass, but there's the defense by the Delta Devils. They're not having any of it.
Yeah, nice recognition there by William Morgan coming up from his cornerback position to disrupt that attempted screen pass. But here's the key. It was the key early in the first half where it really cost them a lot. Third and long, they could not get off the field defensively. Let's see if they fix that problem, particularly with allowing Jalen Jones to run forward for a first down from his quarterback position.
3rd and 10. Jones drops back. Incomplete. That was intended for Corey Reed, but even if he had made that catch, Jay, I don't even think he would have had the first down there.
Yeah, I think he was short on the comeback of the curl route. Had he made the catch, he would have been short, but a good job of knocking the football away by number 23, Jamison Lindsey. And Jackson State going to have to punt the football away. Good start by the Delta defense to start the second half.
So Glenn Misiak is on to punt for Jackson State. He'll boot it away. Jarius Clayton deep for Mississippi Valley State, and he is dropped right away. Good coverage on special teams by the Tigers.
Now offensively, what will the adjustments be from Mississippi Valley State? We saw Eason utilize the quick pass in the short game, but you see the numbers there. 8 completions, only average, 54 yards, so that's less than 7 yards per completion. I think he needs to go a little bit more downfield, extend the passing game, and possibly look to become more of a threat as a runner from the quarterback position.
So here's the Mississippi Valley State offense, their first possession here in the second half. An incomplete pass by Jelani Eason, intended for Ja'Cory Rankin.
I just have to say, we saw them start the game off like that. Quick passes, trying to dink and dunk the offense. I mean, Dennis Thurman is a, NFL defensive coordinator, that caliber. they're going to keep everything in front of them. And if you want to, down by 30, if you want to continue to throw the ball short, they're going to say, okay, they'll give you those passing lanes and come up and make the tackle. You have to be a little bit more aggressive in your passing game if you want to try and score some points when you're down by 30 against a defense coach like this.
Ranking the man in motion. They're going to hand it off to the running back, Caleb Johnson. Dennis Thurman had a great conversation with him. You know, he doesn't like giving things away. He's got that NFL background, but he really believes in his defense, and he really felt like they had room to improve from the last week's game against Grambling State.
And look at the resume there. I mean, defensive coordinator at USC, NFL assistant coach 15 years. So it's going to take a time for it to mesh, and I think, you know, although they're winning, he has to be pleased with what he saw in that first half, pitching a shutout.
Jackson State coming on the blitz. Delta Devils get a screen pass. What a big hit. Delivered by Keontae Hampton as a flag will come in. Jackson State, they've got some big hitters on defense.
You know, you talk about the hitter, so Aubrey Miller, he brings the thump. We know that, but what about the job Keontae Hampton has been? Think about it. Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore in the conference, 100 tackles a season ago, and then this year he was awarded the preseason SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. And you know, Miller, the transfer, got a lot of the headlines and the hype and the talk. But as well as Miller played, we saw the stats. But Hampton had 15 tackles a week ago as well. First team, and quiet leader, very disciplined player, and he's got a bright future. Look out.
We got a fake by Orlando Fernandez, and he just gets lit up. He got the first down, and he popped right back up, though, so you got to give him credit.
He took a hit. Way to give it up for your team, because Alexander Shaw came up and tried to put a little wood on him.
Fernandez takes off and just gets laid out. But look at him pop up. He's going to let you know he got the first down after this.
And I'm going to tell you, he called his own number. You could tell he called his own number. There was no one blocking for him. There were his three up men were just sitting there watching, and people were going downfield looking for punt coverage. But Fernandez showing some mucho macho toughness.
8-yard gain, and it keeps the drive alive for the Delta Devils. But that first down screen pass going nowhere.
That was interesting. 17 Shaw, who we saw make the tackle on the punt return, getting physical again from the cornerback position.
So 2nd and 9 now for the Delta Devils, down 30-0. Jelani Eason, a grad transfer from Portland State in at quarterback. Hands off. Caleb Johnson over the left side, and he'll get run out of bounds.
Another tackle by Alexander Shaw, number 17, coming up from this cornerback position. In that boundary corner.
There's that discipline, though, that head coach Deion Sanders was telling us about. He's been instilling discipline in his guys, whether it be in the locker room, off the field, but even a play like that. They ran into the Delta Devils bench. Something could have happened there, but guys calmly got back on the field. They're up 30-0, and they didn't get involved in anything that they didn't need to.
It's a work in progress, and particularly a week ago, they were called for 4 targeting penalties. Haven't seen that today, so they're doing a good job of taking the helmet out of the football game.
That's Eason taking off himself. He's got a block on the edge, but was it a hold? Because here comes the flag.
Now, this was a good job of running the speed option by Jelani Eason. Off of the pitchman line of scrimmage, decisive, made a quick move and a cut, but coming back for the hold.
That'll be Datavius Porter, the tight end, called for the hold.
Yeah, downfield, and I mean, that's not much resistance on display from the defensive player. However, that's just a tough break for the Delta Devils.
That was Javian Adams, the safety for Jackson State. So on the hold, it'll push him back to 3rd and 9. Head coach Vincent Dancy, he knew it was going to be a tough game. Wasn't sure he was going to get stamina-wise. But he's trying to get something going offensively to build on in this game. That one's going to be blown dead before it even snapped. It's going to be a timeout, Mississippi Valley State. So on a 3rd and 9 upcoming, we're going to take the break with them. Delta Devils looking to get on the board. Welcome back to Jackson, Mississippi. John Schriffen alongside Jay Walker. Tigers up 30-0. Their defense pitching a shutout right now. Incredible job by defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman. And how about this? Rex Ryan visited this Jackson State squad. Deion Sanders tweeting about it. And when we talked with Coach Prime this week, I think one of the things I really took away was he is using all of his resources, all of his connections, all the people he can call on to come in, help out this team, because he is really trying to build something special at Jackson State. He is definitely all in. For anybody to question that, he is all in. He believes that Jackson State can be the HBCU that can compete with Power 5 conferences in terms of recruiting. I think he's got the platform to do it. I mean, at Jackson State, the defense is doing it. He's getting players, getting transfers. They got a ton of talent in the local area. It'll be interesting to see how far he can take this Jackson State program. I mean, some of the people who have already we've seen, Troy Aikman was on the sidelines for their first home game of the season. Rex Ryan just showed up as a flag is down. They're waiting for a false start. Even head coach Deion Sanders said that so many people reached out to him on the phone. He said he's still trying to return phone calls from that win last week. Guys like Snoop Dogg, Steve Harvey, Mike Zimmer. I mean, these are some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment reaching out to Deion Sanders because people can see what he's trying to do. It's bigger than just a football game. This is bringing light to HBCUs around the country and letting know that these kids can shine too. 3rd and 14. Complete to Rankin. And he'll be stopped short of the 50. That'll bring up 4th down. And how about the quote he said with, the NCAA, with if they pass the likeness arrangements that they're going to have, he said, I'm going to have all these kids getting likeness deals. He said, hey, right, even if you have to endorse Annihilator, he said, you will have it. So he's thinking ahead of time of what he can bring to these kids. And I mean, as a football player, think about it. I can't think of anybody that ever played the game in the NFL that marketed themselves better than Deion Sanders as a player. Now he's a coach, and he's got so many young men to help mold to market themselves. Sky's the limit. 4th and 5, Delta Devils going for it. Eason keeps it and will pick up the 1st down.
Eason carries to the 42-yard line.
It's also important to note for Deion Sanders, he has been so accomplished in everything that he has done. He's a Hall of Fame player. He was an incredible broadcaster on TV. And now he's excelling at this next stage of his life as a head coach. How many people can you say have been able to do that at the top of their field in that many, playing, broadcasting, and now coaching? Not many people like that. No, with the trifecta, you either go into broadcasting, fumble. Rankin jumps back on top of it for the Delta Devils. We say normally as a player, you either go in the broadcasting or you go into coaching, but to do both, I can't think of any that have done it as well. Loses the football there. A little surprise. Give credit to Caleb Johnson. He's out there playing with one hand. You see he's got the big club on his right hand, but you're not going to keep him out of there. The best running back. So 2nd and 7 for Mississippi Valley State. Handoff up the middle. And there's some running room. Delta Devils got themselves into the red zone. That's Darian Williams with the big gain.
Yeah, I like the run, but you have to finish it. Williams, you're the guy they said is the elusive runner. You get that much daylight, you have to make somebody miss. Finish that run off in the end zone. You don't get tackled on the 10-yard line.
32-yard pickup. They go back to Williams on the ground. Picks up a few more, brings up second down now.
Going with a direct snap.
Direct snap carry by Williams.
Yeah, that seemed like that was a direct snap, or doesn't matter. He got the football and able to pick up a couple yards with it. But see, it goes back to this. He had an opportunity to make one cut and get to the end zone at the 10-yard line. Now you're looking at second and goal, so they're 6-7 yards out. This is no gimme. They're going to get the score. That's why every yard is important when you're a running back.
First red zone trip of the day for the Delta Devils. And after a short gain on the ground there, that'll bring up third and goal.
I think you throw the football here, but you try to give him the play action to bait him in. I'm assuming Jackson State probably going to pinch the end, try and crowd the box a little bit on you. Try and see if you can maybe give a little play action to your running back in the backfield, pull it from his stomach, and find a quick slant behind it in the end zone.
Defense trying to keep the shutout alive, up 30-0. But Mississippi Valley State knocking on the door. Third and goal. Eason keeps it, and he is swarmed. He's going to be dropped for a sack.
I like
John
the play
Warren
call.
got in there on the tackle.
I like the play call, but I don't like the route combination they used. I mean, they tried to call it, do a bubble screen on the outside. See, if you stick something behind them, that's okay, but a bubble screen, there's nowhere for the defensive back to drop, and John Warren did a great job of realizing what was coming his way, and he not only covered the screen, but got a hit on the quarterback as well.
They're going to go for it for the third time this drive on fourth down. Fourth and goal from the 11. Eason looking end zone, incomplete. Coverage by Shaw, and he has come up big, and the shutout is alive for Jackson State. Delta Devils were knocking on the door, but Jackson State says,
For all your money questions, turn to the nerds.
Tomorrow, we'll have the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again this year. We'll break down every team, every matchup in each region. It's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN.
And more. For all your money questions, turn to the nerds. Smartest credit cards, mortgage lenders, and more. For all your money questions, turn to the nerds.
Tomorrow, we'll have the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again this year. We'll break down every team, every matchup in each region. It's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, with a bonus hour of coverage at 8 on ESPNU. And how about earlier? The women's basketball squad here at Jackson State taking the field here at Veterans Memorial Stadium with their SWAC Championship trophy. Congratulations. They are heading to the big dance.
They got a huge standing ovation from the crowd here, too. They appreciate that. Good luck to the Lady Tigers in the postseason.
In the MEAC, North Carolina A&T women, they won the championship. On the men's side, Norfolk State called that game as well yesterday on ESPN2. They had a big win over Morgan State. And Norfolk State, the Spartans, I don't know. I think they can pull off at least one victory in March Madness. So if you're filling out your brackets, remember Norfolk State. 2nd and 7. What a catch. Completed to Corey Reed, another big receiver. He just went up and got it, showing those strong hands.
When you got the tall receivers, you want to miss high. You don't want to miss on the lower end of perspective. So Throw it up high, see if he can go up and make a play and elevate. And a great job of concentration by Corey Reed. You know, this is Jackson State, home of Jimmy Smith, Corey Bradford, all those guys that used to play and could get it done. Daniel Guy, Story, T.C. Taylor. They've always had these tall wide receivers that could run down here in Mississippi.
Jones can run, and he's going to wisely just pitch that ball out of bounds and live to see another down.
So, you know, obviously, you know, it's hard mentally to really stay as hyped up as you were when you started the game, when you're up by 30. But this is something where if I'm going to agree with Coach Prime. If you're Jalen Jones, you have to figure out a way to put points on the board in the third quarter. You can't take these laps in the third quarter. This offense is struggling a little bit, so maybe that comes from you as a quarterback, as a leader, when you're in the huddle, talking to your team. Come on, guys, let's finish these blocks off. I'm getting hit. I'm feeling pressure there. You know, let's work. And third quarter's ending, and they don't have any points on the board yet after a dominating first half.
Kamani Clark on that last carry. That'll bring up 3rd and 8. Jones pressured at his feet. He'll step up in the pocket, take off, and slide. But he will be short of the first down marker.
Disrupted on the offensive line. Didn't give him enough time. He had somebody clawing at his ankles as soon as he settled in the pocket. And you see Coach Prime just shaking his head like, what are we doing in the third quarter? If they don't get this fixed, they get a little bit deeper in conference play, it could be a problem.
So 4th and 6, Jackson State will elect to punt it away. Noah Anderson in to punt for the Tigers. A nice, deep, booming punt, but it will go into the end zone. But for Jackson State, the shutout is still alive. They're up 30-0 over Mississippi Valley State.
Credit at fingerhut.com.
Fingerhut credit accounts are issued by WebBank, member FDIC.
Well, it's been a great Sunday afternoon here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Jackson State is up 30-0. Head coach Deion Sanders liking what he sees out of his squad, trying to get some points on the board here, though, in this third quarter. One of the great things we've been able to talk to Coach Sanders about is just being active in the community. And you see this tweet he put out. He got a great visit from James Meredith. Now, if you don't know the story, Mr. Meredith was a civil rights icon. He fought to become the first African-American student admitted into the University of Mississippi. And he had to go through a lot just to become a student. Later, years later, he would lead a march from Memphis to Jackson, Mississippi. And on the second day of that march, he was shot. They took him to the hospital. But in his honor, people kept that march going. And on that march to Jackson, Mississippi, people were able to register thousands of people to vote. His story is incredible. Just one of the many people that Deion Sanders coming here to Jackson, Mississippi, highlighting in the civil rights movement. 1st and 10, a big run up the middle for Darian Williams. Williams is starting to get it going here in the second half.
And I like how Coach Prime is bringing that history there, welcoming some of those icons you hear about. When I think about James Meredith, he did it by himself. You know, normally when you hear about school integrations, there are 3 or 4 they take in a class. He was the only one in his class that was a minority that they allowed at University of Mississippi. So that takes some courage. But you know what, though, I got to tell you, when we talk about civil rights icons in the state of Mississippi, things of that nature, you know, I go old school. I go Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers, football player at Alcorn State University up the road a little bit, and mentor for James Meredith. So the tradition there goes, but, you know, I'm always, you know, the athlete in me is going to say, hey, he got it done on the field and did a tremendous job off the field before unusual circumstances.
2nd and 5 going to the air is Eason, connects with his tight end. That's going to be a first down for Datavius Porter. But I think that what I'm taking away from, you know, learning about Jackson State and spending some time with head coach Deion Sanders is that he's been going above and beyond. And, you know, this is not the typical what your duties of a coach. He is doing more because he is just trying to shine so much spotlight on HBCUs as a whole. I mean, even Mississippi Valley State, they told us, you know, this game would not be on ESPN2 without Deion Sanders, and we're appreciative of that. We're trying to put our best effort out here, but what he is doing for all HBCUs is phenomenal.
I think it is, and and it's good. I think everybody's taking advantage of it. That starts from everybody there. You know, give the athletic director, Ashley Robinson, a ton of credit for going out and hiring Deion. He didn't have any college experience out there, had a vision for the program in terms of what it could be, and I think they're starting to see the fruits of that labor pay off, because Jackson State, if you didn't hear about them before in national media, you most certainly have now.
Eason going across the middle, another completion, picking up a first down. That was on 2nd and 5. That's Jacory Rankin with the grab.
Attacking the seams a little bit. A good job of looking off the safety to the left and coming back and delivering a strike to the right. And that's Jacory Rankin, who coaching staff said they want to see what he can do on game day.
Eason. Medium game up the middle. 10 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. And that will be the end of the third quarter here in Jackson, Mississippi. It is all Jackson State, up 30-0. Coach Prime, loving it. That's right. Might go 3-0.
With a fresh face for a fresh start. For a limited time, get a 5th cartridge free.
Looking at a shot of the Civil Rights Museum here in Jackson, Mississippi, as Jackson State dominant so far. Although it's now consecutive weeks, Tigers have not scored in the third quarter, but that's not going to stop the party. Fans are in the stands, and they are enjoying themselves. This is the SWAC home opener for Coach Prime, and his team is putting on a show. Start of the fourth quarter, Mississippi Valley State 2nd and 6. Eason takes off and will be short of the first down marker.
There you get a good look at Ashley Robinson. We talked about the athletic director, so he's had success in different places he's gone.
The Jackson State athletic director, instrumental helping to get Deion Sanders here, doing a great job with his Tigers program, and winning is contagious. You know, once the football team starts winning, you've got other teams. We saw the women's basketball team bringing home some hardware, and good things are happening at Jackson State. 3rd and 2. That one's going to be close. Williams is going to be about 1 yard short of the first down.
John, do you know who leads FCS in attendance? The answer is Jackson State University. Jackson State leads the FCS in attendance. It's not even close, by like 10,000 more fans per game. So you talk about building, it starts with the fan base, and they've got a great fan base down in Jackson, and you bring in Prime, that brings a little bit more light to it, a little bit more shine. And I'm gonna go along with what he said. If you don't slow down Jackson State this season, it's gonna be a while before you do it, because these fans here take their football serious, and they've got something brewing down here in Jackson.
So we have an injured player on the field. We're going to step aside as they tend to him. We'll be back. Jackson State up 30-0.
Know your health. Know yourself. Order now at letsgetchecked.com.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. Jackson State, what an atmosphere we have had here on this Sunday afternoon. Veterans Memorial Stadium. and they average the most attendance in the FCS. Now, I got to tell you, Jay, this crowd probably would have even been bigger had it not been for COVID. The school put limitations on this crowd, so just to even see that many fans in the stands, it is impressive for this home SWAC opener for Deion Sanders.
And when 2021 fall football season comes, they're going to 40. They're going to get 40, 45,000 fans again.
Eason looking into the end zone, incomplete. How about Alexander Shaw? I mean, we didn't even know if he was going to get playing time today, but he has had himself a ball game already. Going to break, we saw Jamani Crane injured on the field. Good news is that he was able to walk off on his own power, so he's on the sideline. But for Shaw, he has got 10 tackles for this Jackson State defense. 2nd and 10. That one's going nowhere. Justin Reagan up the middle, just snuffed out to Darian Williams.
Reagan, one of those guys, a junior from Memphis, Tennessee, defensive end, and trying to get a lot of these guys are auditioning for their future with Jackson State. Knowing you've got such a great class coming in, highest ranked FCS class in the history of FCS, everybody wants a little piece of the pie, and you got to compete, and they want everybody to be on the edge.
3rd and 11, the 12th play of this drive. Eason fires it over his receiver's head. Look who's on coverage once again, our guy, Alexander Shaw.
I mean, coming in as a backup prior to today, but with Isaiah Bolden not being able to go, Alexander Shaw's done a great job in spot duty and making some plays, and he's played physical. He's got the guns out. He likes to be a physical tackler. 10 tackles, got the breakup. Keep playing like that. Find yourself.
I don't know why you guys keep testing me. You're not getting in the end zone on my side of the field. Defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman's got to be happy with his guys' effort, trying to keep the shutout alive. 4th and 11. Eason pressured. They got him by his jersey, and Eason goes down for the sack. Just flexing on him, Justin Reagan.
Well, that's how you get some time there. We talked about it. One of the backups, and you want to get some playing time and get Coach Thurman and the crew to like you. Pressure the quarterback, a couple more tackles for loss. Jackson State defense dominating here today.
Tonal.com. Visit Tonal.com.
NBA Sunday. We got a great matchup. Kawhi and the Clippers taking on Zion and the Pelicans tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the app.
You ever heard of a J set? That's a J set. So you got the Sonic Boom of the South and the ladies that accompany them with the J sets. All-Star Weekends. P3 was representing, wasn't he, John?
Oh, this was great. This is good to see. All the guys for All-Star Weekend in Atlanta generate $3 million for historically black colleges and universities through donations to scholarship funds. Look at that, painted the court inspired by an artist from HBCUs. And you just love to see all this national attention for HBCU programs. As that pass is incomplete. Interestingly, as we're talking about head coach Deion Sanders, when I was at Howard University and I was covering the football team for Howard, I remember we had a star cornerback, Ron Bartell. And all the NFL scouts were there to see Ron Bartell. And he got drafted 2nd round by the Rams. But when they were there to see Bartell, they also discovered he had another guy in the secondary who was really good, a guy by the name of Antoine Bethea, who just recently retired from the NFL, played 14 years, Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowler. And this is a guy who may not have been discovered if he hadn't had another highly touted guy on his team. So that goes back to our discussion. When we talked with Deion Sanders, he said these guys in the SWAC, in the MEAC, they can play ball. They just need some attention. They just need some eyeballs on them. And that's what we got here in a national broadcast game, ESPN2.
You're exactly right. I mean, not to take anything away from Bartell and Deuce, as we called him, Deuce Bethea. I mean, never missed a tackle his whole year, his whole career at Howard University. But when we talked to Coach Prime, you know, the one thing he said that he knew he had good, he said we knew the linebackers were good with Hampton, and Miller kind of might have surprised him a little bit. He knew he was getting somebody special, but he raves about his cornerbacks. You know, imagine if you're a college cornerback, if you're Isaiah Bold and you're DeJon Warren, and your coach is Deion Sanders, and he's telling NFL scouts these guys can play at the next level. They absolutely going to listen and give you every opportunity to do it. And I think he's trying to get that level of expectation. Although they're playing well, he's going to coach them harder next week because he wants the best for them. And in Coach Prime's defense, what he always says, if you talk to anybody that ever played with me, they're going to tell you, I brought it in practice, I brought it in games, I brought it in film study. Don't let the bright lights fool you. Everybody said when it came time to get to business of football, he took care of that, and that's what he expects from his team as well.
You know, after the really hot start by Jalen Jones, he's 1 for his last 10 after that last incompletion. Noah Anderson on the field to punt it away on the 4th and 4. And that punt is blocked. Mississippi Valley State with a huge play on special teams, and that'll give Delta Devils good field position.
Special teams, that's why no lead is particularly safe. Though Jackson State recovered the fumble, they were very fortunate this was not a block, and this ball wasn't fielded cleanly. He catches it cleanly. That could have been a foot race to the end zone, but the special teams doing a good job of giving the offense a little spark here in the 4th quarter.
For the last time Jackson State shut out an opponent in a SWAC game, got to go all the way back to October 19th, 2013 against Grambling State. Shut them out 7-0. They're trying to keep that alive. This shutout alive here. But Mississippi Valley State with good field position, a completion. And now they enter the red zone. That's a catch by Malik Myers. You can tell. Coach Deion Sanders, he's aware. He wants to keep this shutout alive.
That would be impressive. They started off, last time they were on this field, they shut out Edward Waters. Now trying to do consecutive back-to-back shutouts at home. That would be impressive.
2nd and 4. Eason complete, but a flag is down on the play. That's his tight end, Verondre White, on the catch. But let's see what this flag is. Oh, that's going to back up the Delta Devils. False start. It's going to repeat 2nd down. You see head coach Vincent Dancy, he wants an explanation. He doesn't understand it. But that's going to be the 3rd false start called against Mississippi Valley State today. So backs them up outside of the red zone now. It's 2nd and 8. Myers the man in motion. Eason going to the air, tips, incomplete pass. 3rd down.
And this communication between Eason and the wide receiver Myers, that's one where Warren could have gotten the interception. But at this point in the game, you take some shots into the end zone. And once you get down here in the red zone, they haven't shown the ability to punch the ball in to get the running game. They're giving you things underneath, but maybe try to bait them with a double move, sluggo route, slant go, maybe a hitch and go. I think you'd be disappointed if you didn't take a shot at the end zone here at some point during this football game. You got man-to-man coverage across the board. Find the matchup that you like and go for it.
3rd and 8. Eason Looking end zone, and he throws it out of play. Look who's in coverage. Alexander Shaw.
Can't give the credit
He's like,
to Shaw.
what are you guys doing? Don't you know it's not going to happen on my side of the field?
You see where this ball lands? Look where this ball lands. Who is going to catch that ball that's going into the fence? Shaw was there with the coverage, but oh my goodness. Give your receiver an opportunity to make a play. That was just, ugh.
So 4th and 8. We've seen Mississippi Valley State going for it. They are 3 of 5 on 4th downs today.
And I respect that. You know, you're down 30-0. You could take a field goal, try and get 3 points to end the shutout, but no, they're going to try and get it in. Razzle-dazzle,
Flea flicker, back to Eason, and incomplete. Look who's there. Look who's there. Alexander Shaw. Just have yourself a ball game, kid. A lot of razzle-dazzle, all the laterals. Wound up in Eason's hand, threw it downfield, but incomplete. The shutout's alive.
Heartburn. See, 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's.
We're in Jackson, Mississippi, enjoying some SWAC action. Sonic boom of the South. Marching band having themselves a good time today. That's because Jackson State is up 30-0 at 10:30 to play here in this 4th quarter. Jalen Jones, he started red hot. He has just been 1 of 10 since. Now he completes that one to his running back. No, excuse me, that is his wide receiver, Warren Newman.
Get the ball to your playmakers in space. That's when they had success. I think they were trying to get the running game going. It didn't work, and that might have been where they kind of lost some momentum a little bit. But throwing the ball to Baldwin and Newman, they've had big days.
Alexander Tyson upended. Big tackle coming out of the secondary. That's Keontae Daniels making the stop.
Look, the moment he tries to bounce, great job, even with the redirection. Run through the ball carrier, textbook.
Now, Jay, the score at half was 30-0. How big is this drive for Jackson State to get some points back on the board?
You know, I think Coach Prime, he as a coach, you almost want something that you can motivate the coach on to improve upon, and they're giving it to him. And as a player, you know, most players, like, we want to be able to watch the film and not have the coaches kind of correct us and jump on us. Well, it was a textbook. They put on a clinic in the first half, particularly offensively. The defense has done their job, but they just cannot get it going here in the second half.
That one's going to be close to the first down mark. It was interesting. The offense was really rolling with Jalen Jones in at quarterback. They decided to take him out for the backup Quincy Casey after they got up big. Jones came back out for the second half, but the offense just hasn't looked the same after they took him out originally.
And that happens, and I just think the more disappointing thing or points of concern is this is what happened versus Grambling. You know, third quarter, they came out flat. Grambling took the lead for a hot minute, and they found themselves in a close contest. And some of them may give credit to the defense. Let's give credit to Derek Welch, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi Valley. Made some adjustments that obviously have caused a little bit of confusion or hesitation.
I would like to see that, picking up the flag on the field. So it was actually first down. So the drive will continue for Jackson State. 9:09 to play here in the 4th. You know, head coach Deion Sanders wants to put some more points up. Nothing in this second half for either team.
looking at? I guess from the spot they're saying, I thought it was close. So they're saying he's a little bit short, and it's a 4th down.
Yeah, I thought he signaled first down, but now they're going to look at the spot. He's our referee, Y.N. Myers III. Yeah, I think that's the confusion. They're trying to figure out, is it indeed 4th down? And one official hold up a fist.
Shouldn't be that confusing. They never move the chains. So if they didn't move the chains, unless you signal first down and you're picking up a flag, then it's 4th down.
Yeah, so Jay, you're right. The chains, they have not moved, so they should be able to figure it out, and they're going to bring out the chain to get the exact spot. Let's see if they're going to measure this. Yeah, they're going to measure.
Like they're going to get it the way they're tugging it.
But it wasn't. I didn't even think it was that close to measure. That's.
Oh man, yeah, I didn't either.
That's a full yard, right?
Yikes.
So on 4th and 1 now, looks like Jackson State is going to bring out the punt team. Look at that crowd. Everyone's still in the house, you know, even in a blowout. You got to love the support the fans are showing for the Tigers. You got to love the support the fans are showing for the Tigers.
They've been waiting for a long time to get excited about Jackson State football. 5 different coaches in a 7-year span. This is the school of Walter Payton and Lynn Barney, Jackie Slater, Robert Brazil, all the legends.
Nice punt by Jackson State. Pin Mississippi Valley. They'll start their drive at the 10.
Gives you 24-hour protection. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
Looking at your game summary, Jackson State scored on their first 5 possessions, 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal. They went up 30-0 early, and that's where we stand right now. Jalen Jones is really effective. 250 yards, 4 TDs. One of those came on the ground. That was actually the first touchdown of the day. And they talked about opening up the playbook for Jones. I think this next week, open it up a little more. First down. Mississippi State. Mississippi Valley State goes to the ground. Gain of 2. Our next SWAC game will be Saturday, 4 Eastern, right back here on ESPN2. Jackson State taking on Alabama State. Gotta love the fact that we are getting nationally broadcast games here in the SWAC.
And they're going down to the Gump. When you go to Alabama State, I will say one of the nicest on-campus FCS stadiums around. Coach Donald Hill-Ely and the Hornets, they look to bring a little bit more thump than Mississippi Valley did today.
You know, we talked about winning is contagious here at Jackson State, and the athletic director is building incredible programs across all the sports. How about the baseball team today? They beat Alcorn State 30-6. Put up 14 runs in the 7th, and I'm a baseball guy, so putting up 30 runs, as many as the football team? Wow. 3rd and 11. Eason. He is dropped. Look at the pressure by Dalen Dunn. There is no let up in this Jackson State squad on defense.
You see Dunn coming from his linebacker position, gets outside the pocket, chases him all the way across the formation to track him down for the sack. All right, John, Jackson State baseball Give me a name associated with Jackson State baseball. I know I'm putting you on the spot, non-scripted.
On the spot here. You're going to have to help me with this one.
Oil Can Boyd. Pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, went to Jackson State. And their legendary coach is Robert Brady, one of the winningest coaches in college baseball history, particularly in the SWAC. Do a little research. You're a little young. You may not know about.
I love a little baseball trivia. I'm going to have to look
Oil
it up
Can
now.
Boyd.
How about this? Jalen Jones coming back out with 6:37 to play here in this fourth quarter, up 30-0. What do you think they want out of him in this drive? Obviously, you want to find the end zone, but is there anything that you think they need to work on?
I think right now this is all mental right here. Put points on the board. You're not going to relax. Play yourself through it. We're not going to continue to have you struggle. The offensive unit, period, as a whole, struggle in the second half.
Trying to get that run game going. It's Tyson Alexander. No, excuse me, Kamani Clark.
If you think about it, they've got Amari Ketchens, number 60, the right tackle, still in the game. Number 61, Cunningham, starting guards in the game. Great. They've got the offensive line out there. You've seen Kamani Clark. You've seen Tyson Alexander. So this is not on Jalen Jones. This is on that first offensive unit as a whole.
There's a flag down, so we're waiting to hear what the call is.
Unsportsmanlike
dead
conduct,
ball
number 9.
Offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct on both teams. And you know Coach Prime is not going to like that. He is trying to instill discipline in his guys, and he's not going to be happy with that flag. So 2nd and 6. Whistles coming in and more flags. So full start on the offense. That's their 3rd false start on Jackson State. All right, when we talked to head coach Deion Sanders, the motto, the Tigers want to play smart, fast, tough, and disciplined. Do you think they met all 4 of those today?
The discipline part's starting to go. I thought, smart discipline, when you lose one of those, you probably lose both of them. So, because if you're not disciplined, you're not playing smart. And there's a fumble.
Fumble! Uh-oh!
Is this the shutout
could be the shutout. And it is over. Jackson State fumbled the ball, but we do have a flag down. The Delta Devils got it into the end zone. That's Isaiah Latham. But a flag is down. This could be coming back.
Oh, man, look at this. And you see Dancy. He wants to know. He went to JSU. What's the flag for? Well, it was a great return by Latham. And it hurts that we can't even hear the microphone from the official to see what the call is going to be. Block in the back. Unless see, I feel like this. It's 30-0. It's late in the game. Unless it's an obvious one. I don't know if you call this, but we'll take a look at it. Let's call for what it is. This is a good return, nice scoop.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good call because Warren Newman was going to track down Isaiah Latham, and that allowed him to get into the end zone. You got to call that. So the shutout is still alive for Jackson State. As on the turnover, the Delta Devils will get the ball back. The best field position of the day. 1st and 10 with under 6 minutes to play here.
whistle.
What could be going on?
We are broadcasting this one from home. John Schriffen alongside my partner, former NFL quarterback Jay Walker. And we don't have the referee's microphone, so we apologize about that. So I'm trying to figure out what they're figuring out. It was the spot. So instead of the 29, it'll be the 24. So 1st and 10 for the Delta Devils.
They've got it 1st and 5.
I don't know if they're sure about that.
They just moved it up 5 and didn't move the chains.
So even though the score is lopsided, there's still a lot of pride on the line. So 1st and 10 from the 24. Eason throws over the middle, complete. And that will be a gain of 9 to Jarius Clayton.
When you're trying to score in the red zone, the key is getting ahead of the sticks on 1st down. Completed pass on 1st down. Taking what they give you. Now, 2nd and 1, you can attack in a variety of ways. You may be able to catch the defense slipping on some type of deep shot or try and punch a crease in there.
Mississippi Valley is 0 for 2 in the red zone. Both turnover on downs. Eason keeps it himself. He's got a block on the outside. He picks up the 1st down. He'll be marked down at the 6, and his helmet came off after that play. So he's got to come out of the game. We saw this earlier in the 1st half, and it looks like Quincy Ivory, the freshman, will have to come back in here.
And just running the speed option, in-man line of scrimmage, number 76. Reagan doesn't even see him, and takes a little hit there from Khalil Arrington, number 52, and the helmet comes off. Here comes Quincy Ivory again.
Yeah, you know Ivory's looking end zone, right?
he wants to get his throws in.
1st and goal from the 6. Ivory presumably in here just for one play. And they're going to blow that one dead. Here comes a flag. Looks like a false start on Mississippi Valley.
You know why that happens, right? Backup quarterback, different cadence. You get used to hearing something over and over again in your ear with the timing and rhythm. And it forces somebody to jump off sides.
So because of that, Jelani Eason, the starting quarterback, can come back into the game. That's after they walk back 5 yards.
You know, an aggressive quarterback, I'm thinking, okay, you push me 5 more yards back in the field, that gives me more room to work with. So that's how you got to flip it. Okay, when it's in the red zone, it's kind of tight. Now, I've got, 11 yards plus the end zone. I can complete some throws on it.
Jackson State bringing the pressure. Eason breaks free. Touchdown! Mississippi Valley State gets on the board with an 11-yard touchdown, and that ends the shutout for the Jackson State defense.
Using his legs to make the big play. I thought he could have made more of a difference in the 1st half had he been able to break some big runs, but makes a quick decision, gets good blocks, and finishes off the run in the end zone with the score. Way to fight hard through adversity, Jelani Eason.
A rivalry game between both these squads. Head coach Vincent Dancy wasn't sure what he would get coming off a 2-week COVID pause, but his team responds late in the game to get on the board and now trail 30-7 with 4:20 to play. So your standings in the SWAC. So we haven't finished this game just yet. Jackson State with a win over Grambling State last week, 1-0 in conference. If they win this one, Jay, they're in the driver's seat in the East.
They are, but as I mentioned, they got to play Alabama A&M, who I think could probably be, one of the best teams in the conference there, led by their quarterback, Aqeel Glass. Prairie View A&M is going to be a shootout. Eric Dooley always brings a lot of offense to the table. Southern got a rebound after taking that surprising upset loss a week ago. And don't sleep on the Hornets at the hump. When you go into the Gump, when you go to the Gump to play in Montgomery, Alabama against Alabama State. So it gets very interesting. All four of these next 4 weeks they have for Jackson State, competitive teams.
And if you think people left early, I mean, it looks like that's the crowd we saw at opening kickoff. Limited capacity inside Veterans Memorial Stadium. And they have stayed for the entire one for head coach Deion Sanders, his SWAC home debut. I think the Delta Devils get tricky on the kickoff here.
I think they may go for onside kick.
They just kick it down to the 42. And Jackson State offense will come back out onto the field.
That spot is marked at the 42-yard line. Tigers of Jackson State, first and 10.
It's interesting. When we started this ball game and Jackson State scored on their first 5 possessions, they go up 30-0. We're thinking, man, this game could get ugly. But ever since then, the offense got shut down.
Yeah, and now it seems like Coach Prime he's keeping the rest of the starters out there, but he's bringing in Quincy Casey at the quarterback. So he's only making a change at the quarterback position, trying to see if there's something he can do to bring a spark to the game.
Tyson Alexander bouncing that one to the outside, close to the first down marker. 9-yard gain on first down. Second and 1. Casey to the air. Finds Dalen Baldwin.
And maybe that was one of the keys, too. They kind of got away from going to Dalen Baldwin. Baldwin was a man-child on the field in the first half with 3 touchdown catches and had some jump balls. And they kind of got away from him. Sometimes the defense takes it away from you, but the way he was playing, you can force feed him the football.
Man in motion, that was Warren Newman. They pitched it to him. Brings up second down. So if you're Coach Prime and you now go into the week of practice, what is it you're addressing? What is it you're working on in this upcoming week with your team?
How to play 60 minutes of football. I think that this team has had lapses at certain points. You got to finish. I thought they came in with the intensity to prove that they were the more physical team, a little bit bigger, and could win some battles there, but to finish. As we mentioned before, the next 4 games they've got, probably history has shown it'll be a little bit more competitive than the team they're facing today.
So a timeout on the field taken by Mississippi Valley. Their second timeout. It's interesting. We're still early in this spring season. That's the 3rd game. And guys are emerging really every game. A guy like Alexander Shaw, who wasn't even really scheduled to play much. And look what he did today.
We saw him on special teams. We saw him make some pass breakups, and particularly impressed with his tackling that he was able to do playing that corner to that boundary there. Came up and played a physical presence there and had a good showing, and that's how you get noticed. Coach Dennis Thurman, Nate. They call him Nate, all of his buddies with the Dallas Cowboys. I said, how'd they call you Nate Thurman? He said Mike Ditka was a coach there, and he could not remember Dennis as the first name, and there was a popular basketball player named Nate Thurman, and the name Nate just stuck.
Dennis Thurman, our talk with him, he is a classic football coach, old school. I enjoyed talking to him. It was refreshing to, call football games again. I've been calling basketball games, I'm calling baseball games, but when we sat down with him, I said, all right, we're getting ready for a football game.
Yeah, he was ready. He a little savvy guy, California born, played at USC, and also played with my college coach at with the Dallas Cowboys. Steve Wilson, my coach at Howard University, speaks very highly of him. And one thing about Dennis Thurman, highly respected in the field. And I think, it'll take some adjustment getting used to this style of play in the SWAC, but it seems like he made a pretty good adjustment as his defense showed up big today.
It's also a credit to Deion Sanders, too, right? I mean, yes, he's the head coach, but as a timeout on the field by Mississippi Valley, he has assembled quite a staff around him to make sure that this team succeeds. And I think one of the things when Rex Ryan came in to talk to the team, Rex Ryan talked to head coach Deion Sanders about how you keep your assistants motivated and how you handle your staff. And I think Deion Sanders is still learning the way to go as a head coach. And his Rolodex is so deep. He has so many people he can call on, and he's been reaching out to all of the people who have been head coaches who he's dealt with in his career to help him out and navigate this, as this is the first time he's been a head coach in his career.
And that's, in the willingness to open up the resources that you have to help out your university, your football team. And that speaks volumes for what they're trying to accomplish.
Quincy Casey throwing that one deep. His receiver came back. Did he make that catch? Yes. Nice job by Corey Reed. He is down at the 2. 26-yard completion. We've seen that a couple times by Corey Reed, coming back and adjusting to the ball.
They've got some good ones. This is a great receiving core that they've assembled. Plenty of targets.
Now the Tigers are in the red zone behind Quincy Casey. Keeps it himself. Hurdles in there. Touchdown. Jackson State. Okay with the prime dance.
Shuffle.
Look at that. The prime time shuffle. Quincy Casey paying a little homage to his head coach.
And it's the right read. The defensive end collapsed down on the ball carrier. Quarterback's responsibility to pull it. How about a little shuffle?
The first points in the second half for Jackson State. I'm not mad at it. You can put a little dance on that end of that one. Glenn Misiak in for the extra point. And the extra point is up and good. That's a good sign for Jackson State as well. They had struggled with that all season, and they even went for 2 a couple times today. Kicking game, one of the things head coach Deion Sanders wanted to get back on track for his squad. John Schriffen alongside former NFL quarterback Jay Walker. Jay, I have thoroughly enjoyed calling this game. It is good to see HBCUs highlighted on national TV. Jackson State, there is a lot to be excited about with this squad.
They really are, and the pieces are there. I think everybody that you talk to, I've had my phone just going off talking about the athleticism that's jumping off on the TV screen, what they bring to the table, and they're just getting started. I mean, they're just getting started down in Jackson, so this is the beginning of something that could be very special. However, tune in next week. Tune in the week after that, because it's going to be a lot more competitive, and although the primetime era is off to a tremendous start, things could get interesting. We'll see how this team plays during adversity. They get some more competition on the field.
Deion Sanders also was very open and honest with us when he said, we need support from people at home. He said, by just watching us on TV, you will show that there is a need and a demand for HBCU football on national TV. So if people watch at home and the ratings show up, we can show that there's a reason why this should be on ESPN2.
There's a challenge. They challenged the people of the city of Jackson, and they responded. We see the stadium. I'm sure they've sold out to their capacity number of tickets that they could sell during this quarantine type scenario there. So they showed up with the numbers and hit their number. And Jackson State is putting a good product on the field. Definitely is doing that. And the town has been waiting for an opportunity like this for quite some time. One of the more traditional, historic blue blood programs in HBCU football is Jackson State University. And until somebody beats Coach Prime, you're going to have to show them you can do it, because right now I'm seeing this team get better and better. And with the athleticism they've got on display at the skill position, look out.
Easton throwing, that one is picked off. Intercepted by Jackson State, and that's how you close out a ball game. Trey Lockhart on the interception. The defense gave up the shutout, but they're going to end it with a pick. I'm pretty sure Deion Sanders would love ending the game with a pick from his secondary, right?
Yeah, that's all you need. Take it in out to the offense.
I got to tell you, though, as a college football fan, forget the fact that I'm a broadcaster. As a fan, I love what Deion Sanders is trying to accomplish here. And the fact that he's bringing excitement to HBCUs, bringing excitement to spring football. Congratulations. I hope this just gets even better. So new quarterback for Jackson State will be Brandon Mallory, the redshirt freshman, 6'3", 200. The lefty, he's looking at the end zone, just broken up, and he is smart. He was going for Dalen Baldwin.
Now you're not going to make any friends here. He's like, oh, we got it, but I don't know how many friends you make in this situation right here. I mean, you're up by 30 with less than a minute and taking some shots at the end zone. However, they do say Coach Prime's motto is, he wants to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. So they're going to keep playing aggressive, but at a certain point, I like to see him hand the football off.
Well, that one is picked off. Delta Devils come up with the interception by Isaiah Latham. He had the fumble recovery, now an interception. He has come up big in that secondary.
And the ball just got away from him, and Latham reading his keys, ready to make a break on the ball. Misfired high.
Well, it was a great passing game up until that point. Jackson State over 300 yards passing for the first time since October of 2015 against Arkansas Pine Bluff. So that, the new style of offense being put in here at Jackson State, it's not just a running team. They can throw it now.
I'm wondering if Jalen Jones may be walking around a little limpy on the sideline there. I wonder if he had some issues with his hamstring while they went.
30 seconds left, and Jones is dropped. Big fella getting in the end zone, doing the prime time dance. Jamani Crane dancing his way into the end zone for a fumble recovery, and prime time loves it.
You give him the style points for it because he actually slowed down the momentum before he got to the end zone to start doing the shuffle. All right, easy now. Get back over that fence now. Come on.
The big fella was ready for his moment to shine. Let's just say he had that dance dialed up.
See Crane, make the sack, realize he knocked it loose, and that's a fantastic play from Crane, the train. Puckett High School, Puckett, Mississippi. How about a young man that's overcome a lot and All you can do is smile.
Coach Deion Sanders, I gotta love the smile. Look at the reaction. That's college football right there. That's why we love this game.
Is he coaching him up on the shuffle?
What an experience to be a young man on this football team, and your head coach is Deion Sanders. And he's teaching you about football, life, and then coaching you up on your dance.
That there, you think, do we miss another extra point? Newsflash, if you can kick, I think it's safe to say they're auditioning kickers down in Jackson, Mississippi for Jackson State football.
I mean, really, that's the only glaring thing that they need right now, right?
Yeah, they missed on their kicking game. Didn't they have a punt blocked earlier in the game, too, as well? So it's all smiles right now, but SWAC play is just getting started.
Jamani Crane with a sack, fumble, scoop and score, and the dance at the end.
The tough part is when we came into this game, we talked about the Mississippi Valley State defense. And the score is going to say Jackson State scored 43, but I'm not putting that on the defense. The defense did a pretty good job without getting any help from their offense. Jerry Gardner, we didn't call his name a lot, but he can play. He's a playmaker. Eric Powell, that defensive line from Mississippi Valley State, they can play.
Mississippi Valley will return that kick out of bounds. Okay, here's what I got to know from you, Jay. Who did the prime dance better? Here's the first one from Quincy Casey.
Okay.
And then the second one.
Oh, that right there.
From Jamani Crane.
The ball movement. Switch the hands with the ball in it. I'm giving it up to Crane. You know, 280 pounds compared to the quarterback. He was light on his feet right there. And I'm going against my position. You know, as a quarterback, you want to do it, but he shifted the ball. Maybe because he had the ball in his hand. It slowed down before he got in the goal line.
So
that would be a question for Coach
seconds
Prime.
remaining. Yeah, right. I think that should be the first question post game.
Who do you think did it better, John?
Oh, the big guy, of course. Come on now. Crane's not used to scoring the ball, so when he does, he's going to make it look good, and he certainly did. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and that'll be it here in Jackson, Mississippi. Head coach Deion Sanders goes to 3-0, 2-0 here in the SWAC. The first time since 2011. And the Deion Sanders era here at Jackson State is off to an incredible start.
They keep it going there, winning the games at home in impressive fashion. And the story of FCS football, of primetime coaching in Jackson State, continues. So far, so good.
Well, it was good for Jackson State especially. They were up 30-0 at half to get some more points on the board. And I hope everyone at home enjoyed this one because it was fun to call this. Jay, it was a pleasure. For my partner, former NFL quarterback Jay Walker, and all of our incredible crew at ESPN, I'm John Schriffen. Coming up next, it's Deion Sanders. 30 for 30. Double play coming up next. Deion Sanders. 30 for 30. Double play coming up next.